Jen Waller.
Yo. I said, hey, yo. I said, hey, yo. I said, yo, hold on. I don't know who's who. I don't know who King Shaka is.
Yeah.
And this is me, James SC.
I know you're right, Lady Spade. I was sleeping at the wheel.
This is me, the real James, not that other fake one.
That's why I love Lady Spade, man. I was sleeping at the wheel, man. I was.
James SC, is that your real name?
Yeah.
Well, you're saying this corner.
No, it's not my real name.
What's not his real name? James Speaker's Corner?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not true?
The James is real.
This is not you in the chat. Is this you in the chat?
Yeah. This is me. Well, when I said no lacking, that's me.
There's no lacking, you know. Right. Hey, bro, Born, are you fucking stupid as well?
Yeah, Born, what are you doing? Letting the fake Jen Wallace back on.
Let me in, black nigga cunt, slave bitch talking. No one cares about Afghanistan, bro. No one even wants to be there, blood.
No, this is someone pretending to be Afghan, but so he's gonna sort of say things about Afghanistan.
Afghan ain't really up these times, isn't it? This is a bit too late for him. Do you know what I find strange though? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like I was listening to a little bit, like you know, people diss each other's cultures. Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie. Veli and Afghan used to go at it so hard in random hangouts. Yeah, they used to like chase each other around the internet, just disrespecting each other's. Afghan was disrespecting racially, and Veli was whatever. Veli was responding, but never, ever did Veli like take it personally, because like maybe like 3 days later there'd be like a discussion, and they would just be both engaged in the discussion, so it would almost be like it's forgot. Like it wasn't some like childish thing where every time they were on the same panel they had to beef. It was just like once in a blue moon they'd just go at it like proper like raw, like dissing each other. Yeah. But like sometimes people do the exact same thing, it's the exact same dynamic, but at some random point just pull up the handbrake and go, he's being racist. Everybody judge him and condemn him for his racism. I'm like, it's kind of hard to take the high road here, man. You know, like you kind of waited till you got knee deep in the mud and then was like, oh, everyone should be blaming him. Where it's like, yeah, they should, but if that's the kind of outcome you wanted, you should have stopped you should have let him go in the beginning and not engaged and then pointed the finger and said, look at him, he's a racist. You can't get in the mud with man and then say, oh, he's cussing my race and my culture and my ethnic groups. Like,
who was doing that, James?
All of you lot.
Huh?
All of you lot.
You said all of you lie. I don't like that.
Listen, I'm not saying you're wrong or nothing.
What is all of you lies?
I'm saying so let's be honest. Let's be clear. What I'm saying is people are cussing his ethnic group and his whatever, but some people are doing that and then they're saying he's a racist. He shouldn't be allowed to say this to me. Veli, why don't you ban him?
Oh yeah.
But you're disrespecting the man too. Like Maybe he started it.
But
Maybe
James, how did that start though? How did that start? He gets into
yeah,
the
I
black
agree. I agree with what you're saying. I'm not gonna
Come on,
dispute.
bro.
I'm just saying though, like
about black girl with your nappy hair, your holes, your slags.
Now,
And I'm like, whoa. I was like, yeah, your baby mama, you ain't got. I'm like, okay.
yeah,
He
I
starts
understand all of that. I understand all of that, James. But then when Bigger comes on his channel and say, we're not going to do nigga on my channel, and then he come and say nigga, like what are we, you know what I'm saying? Like it should be some
no. That's what I'm not condoning anything he does. I'm just being real, like, because how that all happens, how that start, like a lot of times people get like outraged and shocked when they get called racist, right? Like Naini, for a whole argument today, she was outraged at being called
Let's try
racist.
not to say nine. Let's try not to say nine.
Yeah, whoever, right? But it's like sometimes you don't
we take a shot.
Yeah, I'm just saying you don't realize that you don't actually have to like, you know the deal. I get called a nigga daily. Monkey, African, this, that. By loads of people. By loads of these.
Who? Name names. Who you talking about?
Just the other day. I'm just telling you. Just the other day. I don't know what this kid's name is. This kid jumped on.
Hey, Born Rich, the link in the YouTube chat for.
Yeah, I just dropped it, James.
The
link is in the YouTube chat, family. Click the link, man. Come in, come through. Not the porn bombers, man. But go ahead. My bad.
Put it all on your avatar so that if someone does come in.
Appreciate it, James. I got it this time. I hope so, because this could be a fake fucking Buddha being. You know what I mean? But we got it.
Who's this?
Yo, there's only one Buddha Bing, bro. There's only one Buddha Bing.
There we go.
I ask you a serious question really quickly though, Born, yeah. Have you been to Papa John's and had I don't know, I'm just looking at the advert now. They have folded pizzas.
The papadilla.
Papadilla. Have you had? Are they nice?
I have it, James. But I watch basketball, so I've seen that come up. And I've said I was gonna get it.
No. A folded pizza is a calzone, no?
Yeah, it's a calzone. It's a fact, Buddha.
But they're making it looks like a Mexican quesadilla, but then they folded two pizzas onto each other. It just looks amazing.
All right, James. James, let me tell you some pro black shit. You probably already know it, but you know the owner of Papa John's came out and said some racist shit.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was all on camera. I mean, all on tape saying these niggas ain't shit. Talking about the people who work for him. I said, God damn. So I ain't gonna lie, bro. I am in my own little way. I'm still boycotting Papa John's. So no, I haven't had it.
All right. So listen, I can't stay on long, man. Let me just finish off my.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So where did we get to? So we established white British people, English people being the majority in their country. All right, cool. So how would one go about doing that? Clearly, immigration would have to be an issue and a question mark and get dealt with. However, my main question would be this. Would that make, James Jones, let me see now. In fact, do you know what? James SC, what's your position?
I have some sympathy towards, indigenous British people kind of remaining the majority. Okay, so, just to clarify to everyone in the chat as well, it's only natural for a nation wanting to remain a nation. So Nigerians would want to be predominantly Nigerian within their own nation, and so on and so forth for the Chinese, Moroccan, whoever they may be. They're always going to want to be the majority within their country. So we can understand the resentment if for whatever reason their numbers decline and ethnic minorities rise. We can, anyone who's intelligent can understand what kind of anxieties that may give someone. But I am firmly in the same position as what Shaka said. I don't mind the UK, the English white people being the majority in the country. That's fine, but not at the detriment of an ethnic minority, whether they be Asian, Black, Chinese, or whatever. That's what needs to be addressed, and that's what needs to be kind of clarified. People like what's his name, Ralph, in his previous incarnations,
even today, even now, level some
How
serious.
are you ranking its importance though? That's like, because
I beg your pardon?
like how are you ranking its importance? Like so let's say like Nigeria staying Nigerian. Is that like more important? So let's say Nigeria staying black Nigerians indigenous to the land for X amount of years, a particular threshold, yeah? This specific group of people being the majority. At what cost exactly? For instance, let's say everybody there didn't want to be Nigerian anymore, or didn't subscribe to the constitution, or I don't know, like how are we ranking just them being indigenous to the land
One
and being the
moment.
majority?
Hold on, Buddha. Stick up in. Stick up in. Good question, James. Stick up in, Buddha. Nito, you there?
What up? What up?
All right, cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry, y'all. Go ahead, James. Buddha.
Yeah, go on, James. So you're
Yeah,
saying
what up, man?
I understand how you rank it, because obviously, like everyone can say they're indifferent. Like James can say he has a little bit of sympathy. You and Shaka can say yeah, but like, how important is it? Because for the people that it's
so?
of paramount importance, how important
Right.
is it to
So
you?
let me give you the importance of it. So identity is a major thing when it comes to people's personalities, groups of people, culture, all of these different. Right, is that Dan? Big up,
Big up,
TLT.
Buddha. What you saying, man?
Oh,
Good.
Yes,
Well,
bro.
is
big
that
up.
Dan? Is that Dan? Dan.
Yeah, legit.
All right, cool.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, so it's an importance for cultural reasons,
Important.
historical reasons, progeny, all of these different things. It's essential for that to carry on. And anyone who wants to disassociate themselves, uh,
But Buddha, you asked me Chinese though. That's the only reason I'm asking. It's like
I asked
you
what?
asked me Chinese. You asked me about Chinese people. That was
Yes,
the analogy you gave me, right? But if they were
that's right.
Chinese, presumably there would be Chinese nationals, and it wouldn't just be a phenotype. We're talking about actual people that like, so they're importing their own culture. I'm saying, but what if people are just English, British, like all these what would you call it? Like if people are British nationals, but not necessarily indigenous, or however you're referring to indigenous, yeah? Is that what's more important? That's more important? Possessing the British values, or a bunch of people that look like Celts or Scandinavians or whatever, Aryans, but aren't in any way aren't recognizably British like you would know? They don't speak English there. Well, what's more important? How are we ranking just the indigenous majority? How are we
Right.
ranking?
So what? One of those people would be best placed to give that example, but as the way I see it is the white indigenous Saxon wasp type person, yeah, their culture, their so their culture needs to remain and their
So
identity.
if there was a bag of phenotypically Chinese people, yeah, like or phenotypically East Asian, and they upheld all of whatever you believe to be British values and cultures, or there was these WASP type males, but let's say they fucking spoke German and didn't possess any of what you believe to
They're
be
not. They're
exclusively
not.
British qualities.
No. They're not English. So it's not so much about.
But let's say they were in the sense that they possess that indigenous quality, whatever you believe that to be.
But they
Like
wouldn't
how
be
does that
German.
rank?
They wouldn't be German though, would they?
So let's say
James,
just
James, I
an
think
unintelligible language.
James, I
Sorry,
think we're just leading to some other point or something.
You're not really making
James,
much
let's see.
sense.
Maybe you should break down the British values. What are British values?
There's too many to get into right now. I kind of
Too
want to hear
many.
what
So
Buddha
that's
has.
why you generally tend towards the indigenous line. It's not about the values; it's about being indigenous.
No.
So for
The
me,
values
you
are
know
very
what?
important.
For me, I look at it like this, right? The English are the English.
One sec, Buddha, one sec. Because if you notice, what you said just then, you said you had some sympathies, James, I see, towards what? You have sympathies towards people who want
Towards
English people to remain indigenous, but then you just said that the values.
they're
Just
both
break that down.
important.
They're
They're
both
both
important.
important. Yeah, like
Does Jordan M represent British values to you?
in some ways, yeah.
So in the ways that
Because
he does, what are the ways that he doesn't?
so the thing is, like, like your culture. This is what we're kind of talking about. Your culture has lots of facets to it, and
Facets, yeah, sure.
yeah. So one of those facets might be your religion. Other facets would be, you know, the rituals you follow and your customs, your norms, your
So
behavior.
we're all British. What would you say that some of those? Are there any overlapping values that we all share that you could offer up?
So not necessarily that every single British person has.
No, but something that ties all of the British people on this panel together with yourself.
Well, I assume that my fellow British nationals all, for example,
no, but for the sake of this discussion, we all fall out of that because we're not indigenous. So I'm just looking at the values, not.
Yeah. That's why I said British nationals. I didn't say British indigenous. Like,
right.
If you want me to give an example of a value that all the British nationals on this panel share, like I expect that we all believe in democracy as being a better political system than feudalism, like, or absolute monarchy. So that would be an example of a value.
What type of democracy?
Well, in that we might differ. I don't know, but
so,
I think
so. We could all believe in democracy, but they could be different forms of democracy,
right?
So, would you be happy for different forms of democracy? To be
well, I'm sure there's some changes that could be made to democracy. Like, for example, at the moment we have first past the post, whereas like we could change that to proportional representation. Those are both democracy.
2009, 2010, you missed the chance. You could have done that. I don't know if you voted in that, but yeah, AV has been and gone. So shared values.
Right. So those are two examples of different ways of running a democracy.
I'm rapid fire. I just want to know. So you just said indigenous. So would you say? Are you going with indigenous because if you said indigenous, it would be more likely than not that people would share the same values? Is that what you want? If you were to look at a crowd, you'd want to see British people all wearing like Union Jack t-shirts or whatever. You'd assume that they all have the same values.
Well, it's certainly more likely that British values will be preserved if indigenous people remain the majority than if like the next 50 or 30 years, kind of due to mass immigration, indigenous British people become very rapidly a minority because
mass immigration.
Wait a second. Let me finish this point.
Stay there a minute, James. Stay there a minute. Okay.
Yeah,
other than immigration, how does one go about achieving that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. So, the only other way is, the only way is just as people kind of adopt to living in a British country, they'll become more used to kind of the living standards and culture, and that tends to cause people who previously were from cultures where it was the norm to have like a lot of kids because, you know, traditionally you might expect some of them to die and that sort of thing. Kind of living in higher economic, a more economically developed country tends to lower the birth rates of the people who immigrate there. And so over time, you could expect the groups of people who are currently having lots of kids right now, like Muslims, for instance, their birth rates are quite likely
to went there and just said Muslim, blase, like, you're fucking dread.
It's a Catholic. It's a Catholic, but it's all right. Let's go with Catholic. Let's go with Catholic. So would you be happy for?
Yeah, but as far as I know, Catholic or
this is it. This is what I want to get to, because when you talk about shared values, you can only look at Northern Ireland and see that shared values. People are Christian, but not every type of Christian, right? People distinguish. So, are you a Protestant or were you raised Protestant, James? I guess you're Church of England, right? Come on, man.
Yo, what happened?
Quick response, James SC. Were you raised Protestant? What's going on, man? It seems like you messaged you get he jumped.
Nah, he left, Dan. You was on it.
We lost it. Yeah. See, listen, I don't know about all these little crypto hidden FNATs that you lot let among you, man. You can't let these man got easy, whatever, man. James.
No, I like that though, Dan. I like that though, Dan, because people think that I was out of bounds from for earlier for jumping on G Block and just questioning Afghan. You know what I mean?
Hey, bro, I'm lost though, but the way I jumped in,
I mean, just James SC. James
I
SC.
Yeah, but hold on.
Hold
yeah,
on,
one
yeah,
second.
James SC. Catholicism. So we are talking about Catholicism and.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Come on, bro.
Yeah, but I asked the question. He
But
just
can he go? But can he go, Jimmy?
Just let me go.
Jimmy, let him go, Jimmy. Jimmy, let him go.
James SC.
Hey, Born.
James,
it's a bit of respect.
Nah, come off it, man. Come off it.
Come on, bro.
That's what we said,
You know the order, man.
Jimmy, we said let him shoot. Let the man shoot, Jimmy. This KD right here. Go ahead, Dan. Let KD shoot the ball, man.
Yo.
James SC, are you Catholic or Protestant?
We had a bit more respect for one another on the panel.
Jimmy, you ain't gonna let Dan. You ain't gonna let Dan shoot.
Just show some. It's fine. I'll go. He can speak, but just show some respect. I'm literally talking.
I got you next. You next, Jimmy.
A bit rude.
Yeah,
we
gotta blame James's internet connection for that one. So
you next, Jimmy.
James, you're up next, but don't worry. James SC, so Protestant or Catholic?
I'm not Christian at all.
But were you raised Church of England? I'm assuming you probably were.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Church of England, you think the Church of England should be dominant, should remain predominant, right?
No, I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, you're talking about British values, right? So would you be happy if there was like 54 million Catholics here?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Do you share values with Catholics or not?
I don't know. I like can't really say, can't really tell you. Like I mean, I'd have to wait and see whether it happens. I don't have any particular reason. I mean, do you mean like sort of if a bunch of foreign Catholics sort of came in from some country, like 4 million of them at once, like that I'd have a problem with because, you know, the country would be too crowded and stuff. But if you mean, you know, suddenly, I think I've cut off. Are you guys there?
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, if suddenly the Catholic Church became very popular and 54 million current Brits decided to become Catholic, yeah, I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. Don't really have a particular view on it. I think, but yeah, I think if there's like, you know, an assertion that TOITN wants to make, like you've said this which is wrong or that kind of thing, I'd be more interested in just hearing that than just hearing like kind of 15, 20, 30 questions that never really go anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's having mic issue now. Internet connection issue. But I was gonna say though, yeah, you know what I'm a bit lost on was but I thought everybody agreed.
So, you know, I can't hear nothing. You know what? Yeah, soon come.
I thought everybody agreed with you though. That was what was a bit confusing for you to be singled out. I thought I was the only one that had a different opinion because I think Shaka implied that he shared some sympathy with people that hold those views that they should be a majority.
No, I don't really care about them. I don't really give a fuck about them.
But the reason I said sympathy is because you believe that should be the case for where you're from. That's like indigenous people to Zimbabwe, whatever tribe, the tribes that aggregate or comprise Zimbabwe, they should be majority. And then Buddha also said he alluded to having some sympathy. It was implied in his response. And then James outright overtly said he has some sympathy. I was the only one that was really apathetic towards it. And then I further qualified that by saying I wouldn't even care if people that were phenotypically Chinese made up the majority of the population.
I can't. Yeah, in this country right now, I wouldn't give a shit. It's not my land, innit?
That's what I'm saying. So, but then you agree in principle with the idea that the majority.
Yes, I can't. Yeah.
Yes, so you guys all agree with each other. I was the only odd one out, to be honest.
Yeah, it's me, man. It's me. I can't hear that one second.
My guy. Got you.
Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I thought it was. So I don't know. I think that argument, whatever the particular argument is, I think should be leveled at all three of you. Free,
if I was being realistic, I wouldn't give a fucking because as long as I'm financially benefited from this country, then that's what matters to me.
I had an internet problem, and that's why I had to leave and come back in again.
So which one are you on? This new one? The new one you just came in on?
Yeah, the new one, I think.
Oh, okay, you knocked it off. I got you.
But yeah, realistically, I don't know. I don't think I actually, as long as I'm eating in this country, that's what I'm here for. And that's what we all here for, to eat, to make money from this country.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that, man.
Why not?
That. They're gonna get onto you for that, bro. If you can't come here and seek benefits, you can't come here and seek benefits, bro. You can't do that, man. If you hear it, you gotta be struggling, bro. You gotta be in the struggle. You get me?
Well, you're on about I didn't say benefits, blood. I just said we're here to enjoy the
world. Anything. You can't. None of that. You have to be here, bottom of the barrel. Got to be cleaning shoes and shucking and driving and all that.
I ain't here for the acceptance in it. I'm just here to enjoy the wealth for this country, work hard, enjoy the money, and go. Yeah, man, that's what I'm here for. So I would, as long as that's calm, I don't really care who's leading. As long as I'm blessed and I'm feeding my family.
I think James said something. I don't know if you muted.
No, I didn't hear it. You're gonna have to repeat it. But yeah, someone in the chat is saying all Dan does is machine gun questions. Big up Socrates, man. Questions get you answers, and questions lead to more questions. So,
James,
you have to run that again, bro. I can talk to James, man. It's good. No worries, man. 2 Jameses, but yeah, I don't need the chaperone. You don't need to go up chaperone.
I think you got a delay as well. I think you got a delay as well.
Yeah, what I was saying while you were muted, ITN was I can't remember everything I said, but definitely
54 million Catholics. Would you be happy with 54 million Catholics is what I said.
Okay, so to summarize, it depends if you're talking about 54 million Catholics from outside of Britain suddenly entering.
No, we haven't said that. I'm just.
Well, that's why I'm laying out the 2 cases. If
let's look at Northern Ireland, right? There's a Catholic majority in Northern Ireland,
right?
So there's a Protestant minority. Do they share values?
They share some values and not other values.
Okay, so would you be happy with 54 million Northern Irish Catholics? I'm going to say using Northern Irish, but yeah, British essentially Catholics coming to the UK and
well, there aren't 54 million.
No, but there could be. They all have like 8 kids. So
if that happens, like if the population of Northern Ireland exploded and suddenly there were 54 million of them and they suddenly arrived in the UK, then that would probably put a lot of strain on services because we're currently a country of 60 to 70 million. And so you'd be talking about the population nearly doubling.
I'm sure the services would grow. The services would grow in line with the population.
Let me finish my answer.
I'm just.
So the thing is, obviously, that would be a debt.
You don't need to think like that. I'm saying, assume that the services would grow at the same time.
My answer, I might say something.
No, but you've just created. I know, but you've just created a straw man. I'm not.
If you're going to all right. Yeah, let him go, Dan.
Yeah, I hear you, but then the man's
okay. Thank you. Then let me finish the answer.
I know, Dan. I got you.
You might be surprised, Dan. Anyway. So, like I was saying, like if we suppose that this is a hypothetical country which is well equipped for 110, 120 million people, and let's suppose suddenly of that 120, 50 million of them decided to become Catholic, and I was asked whether I'd have a problem with that. The answer would be, I don't know.
Whether or not you would be okay with 54 million Catholics from Northern Ireland taking root here and achieving that over a period of time, right? So it might start off with like 1 million, and then after like 5 generations, you've got 50 million, right? Would you be happy with that? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut out, Dan.
No, I just said, would you be happy with that? So if just imagine that Catholics, so we go from like being a kind of predominantly like Church of England based like country to being Catholic over 5 generations? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I don't have a particular opinion on it. Like, I don't have any reason to think that it would be kind of, you know, an especially bad thing.
The useful thing in this example, we actually have Northern Ireland as a case study. So, Northern Ireland, right? Catholics are the majority, and they're considered British.
Is that a question?
Yeah, they're considered British, right? Are we right?
They are indeed.
Do you think that? What do you think about the whole Catholic Protestant thing in Northern Ireland? Do you think Protestants should like? I mean, they're a minority technically in their own country, aren't they? Or in their own part of the country?
Well, I guess
Come
so.
on, man. They are.
Yeah, I guess so. So, like, if they're a minority, they're a minority.
Should we be looking to the Northern Irish Protestants for like the solution?
I don't know what problem you're talking about when you say solution.
Well, being a minority.
Like, can I propose?
You could also say that there's like an ethnic divide, right?
You've asked like quite a lot of questions.
Yeah, you're perfectly capable of answering. You're a smart guy.
Wait a second. Can I suggest
smart young chap.
If you have like an objection or points you want to make, can you just make an assertion rather than asking like a million questions? Because I think it would be faster. No. Just say, James, I think that what you said was wrong. Was X, Y, and Z. Can you do that?
No. You're in the dark right now. You're feeling around for the light bulb, and it's not that time yet. Just cool out, man. just cool out, man. The lights will go on when they need to, right?
Listen.
So I'm asking. I know you're uncomfortable because you can't. Maybe you can't see where the questions are going, but I know where the questions are going. So don't worry. You're in good hands.
No, listen,
like, speed it up, bro. Can you speed it up? That's
I'm not even saying
listen, people in the chat, if you think I'm being too slow, I'm asking pretty rapid fire questions.
Listen, you don't understand my objection. What I'm saying is,
can you speak a bit more quickly?
I'm not saying, James is, so it's not about.
Can you speak a bit more quickly?
It's not about talking speed. What I'm saying is, hold on a second. You've asked a lot of questions. I just need to I'll just make one statement, and then you can respond to it however you want.
Well, I asked the question.
If it's the case that you think that I've said something wrong, then you should be able to demonstrate that what I've said is wrong. So
I think I'm demonstrating.
Go ahead and try and do that rather than asking a million questions.
I will just say this: the fact that you're already thinking about being right or wrong,
you aren't listening.
It doesn't need to be that.
Wait a second. I'm just making this one statement, and then I'll let you respond however you want. I wasn't finished making a statement. So on the one hand, like, you can either demonstrate that I've said something wrong. If you instead,
it's not about you saying it's wrong, James.
I wasn't finished.
What does he think is wrong? Come on, man.
I'll finish soon, patience. And then I'll let you go.
You just asked me to speed up my questioning. Don't talk about patience.
Wait a second. I'll let you go. Just let me finish.
All right. People time how long this guy's talking, man.
Yeah, I'll be done within 30 seconds. Okay, so either you just sort of say what I said was wrong.
You're just repeating what you said. Look, it's not about that. I just said it's not about that. You're repeating yourself.
Control yourself.
Listen, if you're going to spend 30 seconds repeating the same point, I didn't say listen. I didn't say bro, just answer the question.
What do you say, Jimmy? Jimmy, I'm here. What do you say, Jimmy?
I said go regulate, man.
I just want to finish making one statement. So you're not letting me finish it. I would have already done. Okay.
Well, let me be honest. I'm about to finish. Yeah, Dan, let him make it. If he's gonna make a repetitive statement, let him make it. Go ahead, Jim.
All right. He's gonna say something about being wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let him say it.
I won't repeat that part.
Let him say it.
Thank you.
I
think that part of the message has gotten through. The final thing to say is that if instead what you want to do is just ask a question, then ask another question, all that will lead to is you just fumbling around trying to get something, right? But if you already had some kind of clear statement of, well, this is what you said, that's wrong, then you could just assert that as an argument and your point would be made.
Answer the question.
Yeah, but that's far. You haven't answered the questions. That's far. I haven't actually established your position.
Everybody. Go ahead, Dan. What's the question?
Yeah, but Borderich, just so you and the panel know, I have to ask questions to know what your position is. If I just start shooting, I don't know what your position is, then I'm going to miss, aren't I? So I just want to know. So my question is,
Can I make one statement?
I asked you a question. I said, would it be a good idea to look to Northern Ireland, right, like a crystal ball, to look into the future to see what it would look like when Protestant British people are a minority? Because you could also see the Northern Irish issue as like an ethnic one, right?
Yeah, so there'll probably be some lessons that could be learnt, but there'll be other ways in which it would be different to Britain's future.
Well, what lessons have you learnt from the troubles thus far? Like, do you think that shared Christian identity is enough to bond people together?
Well, not necessarily.
Clearly not, you were about to say, so clearly not. Okay, so you've just given an example of people who are very ethnically similar and who share very similar, like, religious beliefs, not getting along. So what are the reasons they don't get along?
I guess historical one.
No, one sec. It's historical. It is. So you're aware of this. Just let me get there, James. You don't need to protect James SCA all the time, man.
Why is
it's cool. Don't worry. You'll get wine in a minute. I'm not talking to you at the moment. It's James SCA. You're aware. That's an ethnic. That's essentially an ethnic problem. Right? As well as a problem. As I'm going to carry on. As well as a problem of demographics. It's ethnic and also demographic, right?
5% of the time.
Sure. No problem.
Jimmy, you gonna talk over him, Jimmy? Let him go, and then you. No,
yeah, my nigga, it's my fault. This guy's just speaking for a whole half hour.
Well, let him land. Let him finish his sentence.
Hey, Boyd, did I get that question you promised me, man?
All right, man. No worries, man. Yeah, you got black boy today, yeah? You're black today, yeah? All right, cool, man. Anyway, James SC, let's get back to this ethnic issue. So you're aware that two people who share similar ethnicities, right? Similar ethnicities, right? The Celts. You could put them all under the Celts. Maybe split it Gaelic, Celtish, right?
Yeah.
That'd be fair. So why don't those two groups of people who also have a British identity, a shared British identity, why don't they get along?
Well, historical reasons, I guess.
Right. And what are those historical reasons?
I don't know. I know Northern Ireland.
You know when James Jones just starts laughing, it's like you could just laugh on mute. It's not even.
Where's the speaking?
The fake laugh. Anyway, look, James SC. Look. What I want to get to, you yourself, you know full well, right? You know full well that this issue, this great replacement or whatever, and I don't know if you actually subscribe to the great replacement. Do you or not? Am I making an incorrect assumption about you there? Do you believe that?
Is the great replacement the projection that
David Coleman
will be a minority in the future?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's projected to be quite likely to happen.
Right, so you subscribe to that theory, the great replacement?
Well, do you? I do.
I think it's one of many projections. I think that was the Coleman projection from 2010.
Okay, so
we'll see what happens with the census, and there's probably going to be more.
So it's a reasonably likely projection. It's a projection that some experts say is likely to happen.
You've added the reasonably likely. I mean, he said that, but okay.
So real quick, Dan.
Go on.
Nito, I'm sorry, my bad. Nito, this you? I just want to get the avatar off me. Nito, say something, brother.
Yeah, I'm up there, man.
All right, okay, cool.
Man, I'm hyped to watch this game, man. I kicked my damn self out.
Yeah, I got you, brother. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Big up all the non-indigenous British people out there, English people.
Let Jimmy go though.
Watching the football, yeah, man. Go on, James. I don't know who James is. Is James Jones? What side are you on today? Are you supporting the FNATs or are you
I'm with the Clippers today. I'm not even gonna lie.
What was it you said? I heard someone told me you were saying something about you don't have an issue with FNAT nationalism. I heard you got ganged up on by a couple of FNATs and you backed down.
That's your homie, Dan. I thought y'all was homies.
Yeah. I don't know. This is all politics.
Hey. He asked me. Braun said, "Do you have something to say?" He didn't say, "Dan, do you want to say something to James?"
Yeah. You're right.
What I wanted to say to you was, you should have bet that boy Clarkson because he's going up. That's all I was gonna say.
I know you're right. They had a bet for me too. Good shit, James.
I know. Right, now, Dan, James, you guys
need to. Well, watch this though. While you watching though, 2 threes from PG and 2 threes from Twin. I call just Twin, but Marcus Morris.
Yeah. They'll be
All right,
right back in it, man. They'll be right back in it, man, if they can do that.
Yeah, but go ahead. Let's get back. To the conversation.
Someone was saying something about a history lesson, right? So would it be fair to say that there was a plantation in Ulster at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Those planters were mainly of like Scottish descent, right? And they were transplanted, should we say, to the north of Ireland.
I'll say this, like,
So, is that a yes or no? Like, did that happen or not?
I'll answer in my own way. Well, I'll answer your question, and I'll also say something else. But I'll say the other parts before I answer the question.
Thank you.
So, like, it seems kind of like this is sort of grasping around a bit aimlessly.
Stop talking what it seems like. Look. You don't need to do this. Just think these things. Just think these things.
Wait a second. I wasn't finished. Wait a second. I wasn't finished. Calm down a second. I'll let you continue asking questions, but I'll just say this.
You always sound calm.
Calm down a second. I'll continue. Okay, thank you. Like I said, this is seeming a little bit aimless. Like I've been here for a little while, and so here's what you can either do. I'll either let you ask 3 more questions.
We're getting uncomfortable now. We don't do that. We don't do that. That's a little boys game.
Wait a second.
I don't need to hear
Wait a second. I wasn't finished.
Wait a second.
I wasn't finished.
He's giving you
no ultimatums. No ultimatums.
Here's the other term. If you either I'll answer 3 more questions, or you can just make an assertion that, James, here's something that I assert, I challenge you on this point. You said this wrong. Here's why. Or you can do that, or you can ask 3 more questions.
Well, I don't need to.
Now,
I'll make the assertion. Here's my assertion. My assertion is based on that. I'm going to do that.
Wait a second. I wasn't finished.
Come on, we can speed this up.
Stop over talking me. I wasn't finished.
Just speed this up. I can answer your question.
Stop over talking me. I wasn't finished. Stop over talking me. I wasn't finished. Thank you. So,
you're like Lister, man.
As to the question that you asked first of all, was there a colony in Ulster, and was a population supplanted? The answer to both those questions is yes. Now you can go on.
Okay, so I'm going to reject all the stuff you said about the questions. If you're getting uncomfortable, though, it's fine. So would it be fair to say that to the Catholic Irish people at that point, they were colonized, right? That's fair. It's fair to say.
Yeah.
Cool. So colonization. Has there ever been any sort of active program because you mentioned mass migration before, right? And as far as I know, mass migration was this thing that existed when we were in the EU, maybe during the Tony Blair years, but hasn't really been the case since 2010 when David Cameron was elected. So I don't know what this mass migration that you're talking about is. Is there still mass migration in the sense that there was in like the Tony Blair years? I don't think there was.
Well, the level of migration was probably a bit higher during Tony Blair years, but it hasn't gone down to the same level as before Tony Blair. It's now maybe half that of Tony Blair, which is still a massive increase compared to with John Major. So you could still call that mass migration, just a lesser mass migration than compared to Tony Blair. This is your final question after this, by the way.
It's not my final question. It's not my final question.
No, well, you had the option. Not how it works. You had the option to just make a point. You could have just asserted something. But instead, you want to. I don't want to make around questions. So if you wanted to start an argument, if you thought you had me on something, if you thought you could prove that I said something wrong,
slow down, bro.
Do it, okay? But you clearly can't.
Slow down, bro.
You have your. You can choose how you want to react.
Slow down. What did you swear for, man? That's not very British. It's not very becoming of an English gentleman, James. What? You just swore, and you're talking about how I want to behave.
Yeah, in terms of either you can respond to the challenge to make an assertion, or you can keep on groping around and asking questions.
Well, get your words out, man. Look,
James, man, sounds very feminine.
Very feminine.
Mom, you know what though? You missed the opportunity to use the light bulb reference. You should have.
But look, I gave him. Imagine I give the man the reference. I give him the light bulb analogy, and the man fumbles it. You said gross or something. How are you gonna? What is wrong with you, man? Anyway, look, James SC. Look, I know you feel a little bit intimidated when I get on the panel with you and I start talking FNAT stuff, right? Because I think you expect me to like jump on like the Muslim bandwagon and protect. That's not really ever been me. I've always had you down as somewhat, kind of like a chocolate FNAT, right? You're like a kind of chocolate one. You melt under pressure. This is what's happening now. You're melting. No more questions. So that's my assertion. And what I'm saying is, I think people like you, hide in the kind of the masses. I don't think many people actually think like you. So if you were going to align yourself with any, I'd probably put you on like the Anne-Marie Waters type. You're like a little bit further right of UKIP, I would say. And that's an interesting one because at the moment,
I like Anne-Marie Waters. I think she's good.
So I got you in one, right? So I'm fairly good at what did you say? Grosping around in the dark or
no? Well, it took you like.
I've been eating my carrots.
He's groping around.
I've been eating my carrots.
Yeah, groping and grasping around.
James, see, listen, you're the world-renowned James Speaker's Corner, yeah. Tesco bags and all of that. Speaker's Corner. You're a legend, man. You're a legend, man. Legend in the park on Sundays. But the rest of the week, it's not Sunday today, is it? So just cool out. It's not Sunday. When it's Sunday, you're the legend, right? We'll talk to you now. So I'm gonna make what I'm gonna make. So I've made one accurate assertion. I think I've only asked one question. So would it be fair to say that you're like a chocolate FNAT? That's cool, right?
Well, it depends what you mean by that.
Well, what does chocolate Muslim mean? What does chocolate Muslim mean? What does chocolate Muslim mean?
Well, I don't use that phrase.
No, but you know what it means.
I think different people use that phrase in different ways. It seems vague to me.
Sure. What meaning do you draw?
Let's instead ask the question, am I an FNAT? That's a more precise question. Now, the answer to that,
a watered down one. You're a diluted FNAT.
Wait a second. The answer
to
that question.
Get there, man.
Yeah, the answer to that question is I have sympathy, like I said, for indigenous British people remaining the majority. Like, I have a slight preference for that. I think, if indigenous British people, due to mass migration, become a minority within the next few decades, like is projected to happen, then there's a wait a second.
Sure, but I've just got
he's a natty light.
Wait a second. And so if that happens,
but listen, you've sworn and burnt on the panel.
I wasn't finished.
Sworn and burnt. I don't share those values with you. Me and you don't share those values.
I wasn't finished. Wait a second. And so if that happens, it's pretty likely that the British culture and values are going to change in ways that I don't find preferable, because I have a preference for British culture over most or every other culture.
And I asked you. Sure, and I asked you, using the Northern Irish case, right? You consider Northern Irish Catholics to be British, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, is there a problem in Northern Ireland that is kind of transcends the ethnic and religious status of those people, right? It's deeper than ethnicity and religion, right?
Yeah.
I've asked you way more than 3 questions. You're so I must thank you. You're such a generous.
Yeah. So. And you've made your assertion, and
that was accurate. It seems. So I think we can carry on. So so you're aware that there's a big problem. There's a big problem.
I've got a question for you. You've asked a lot of questions.
Okay.
Let me ask one in return.
Go on,
are you capable of showing that any of the factual claims that I've said are wrong?
I don't think you've made any factual claims. I was asking you questions about
at any point.
What points have you made?
In any of the times we've spoken about, is there anything that you want to say, James? You are incorrect about this.
What does talking mean?
Which claim? Hold on. Let me ask you, which claim has he made, James?
So the reason I asked that question is because, like, if he's going to try and like refute me or something, then I'd like him to just get on with
each other, man.
Oh, so yeah. So if this is going to be like kind of James Speaker's Corner, I have refuted you. I have shown that what you said was wrong or what you said was bad. Here's
my contention. Here's my contention. People like you with the politic that you have in like England, right? Your blind spot is Northern Ireland. You have absolutely no idea how to address the Northern Irish issue. None.
So what if I don't know how to solve Northern Ireland?
So, but you think
I'm not the king of Britain, you know. I'm not the prime minister.
Right, sure, but remaining remaining the indigenous majority. One second, James, you'll see where I'm going with this.
You don't know how to solve Northern Ireland, ha!
You sound very feminine, bro. You sound very feminine, James.
Wait, listen.
Yo, one sec. No, hold on. I've not finished. One sec, James.
All right,
James, do you not understand? Do you not understand why I've asked you that question? Right? You think that remaining the indigenous majority somehow solves some kind of social issues? You think there's social issues regarding kind of assimilation, integration, that sort of thing, right? You think that's going to be so that's your solution, is to just remain the majority?
Well, let's address that. So certainly I can foresee it being quite likely that certain problems that we don't have now, or that we have now but to a reasonably small degree, are quite likely to get worse if mass migration continues. And so to that extent your assertion is correct. But
that's what I'm saying. We can look at a stable example in Northern Ireland. We don't need to think about mass migration. We've got stable populations, right?
Well, we can't look at that for all of the answers to our questions, because in many ways Northern Ireland differs from the rest of the UK, and its specific historical circumstances differ. So you can't say, oh, look, here's one example of an ethnic conflict, and so, therefore the same circumstances or the same thing will happen in the UK. That's not a valid inference.
Can I ask a quick question?
I don't think you see what I'm going. One second. So, I hear you, James. So I've just got go on, man.
Just to be clear, would you make the case for all indigenous ethnic groups, or just one? Like, if, for instance, we argue that, okay, right. So then,
and this is exactly why I'm asking the questions, James. You see what I'm saying? He thinks we're all like the four tribes. So this is why we're talking about the four tribes. So James SC, you are aware that like the Great Replacement is only like projected to take place in a number of like major cities like London, Birmingham, places like that. So there will still be parts of the country that will remain predominantly and do remain like predominantly white. You can go to like Norfolk, Suffolk, most of East Anglia, Kent is pretty white.
As far as I'm aware, there are projections that overall in the UK, the majority of the population will become non-ethnically British.
Is there a challenge there, by the way, as well? Because you said he never spoke any facts. James, you believe that is a fact, regardless of whether or not it's just probable. You don't believe it's definite, but you believe it's probable. So arguably, one can consider that to be, let's say, a reality.
No, hold on, James. James Jones, this is what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. The problem that James SC has noticed is a political problem. It's not one that can just be solved by demographics. Just we're just gonna fix the demographics. That doesn't mean anything. Like social cohesion, all that sort of stuff. Like there's lots of factors that like drive that. You yourself probably don't share a lot in common with like a working class person, like builders and shit.
So right. I never said that. I never said that the ethnic composition of the UK would solve all problems. What I said was that certain problems are liable to get worse.
Cool. So now we can talk about those problems. So which are those problems? So which problems have you identified that would be solved by this remaining a majority lark?
So here's an example. So there's a possibility that as the Muslim population in the UK increases, that they will more and more want to kind of exert their Muslim values with regards.
You cut out.
No, he said, I heard him.
With regards.
Yeah, cut out, yes, cut out.
Boy, check the drip, man. Boy, man's got like the 1914, like back from war, World War I drip, man.
Well, I know you don't like it. I know. Well, then you can move, my friend. You can move. You came after us. You can move.
I thought it was a
Big man in the party. You get me?
He said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. صراط المستقيم. No جبر محمد كريم. Jesus Christ, claim.
Wait. Hey, can you go back a second? Did he just?
Why y'all quiet? Why y'all so quiet?
Wait. Did he? Yeah, he did, didn't it? You saw that, right?
What happened?
Oh shit!
What happened? What happened, Jay?
Yeah, you know what? He just shook her hand, but you know them lot make a big thing about not shaking any woman that's not their wife's hand.
He give her a spud, man. He give her a spud. It was a spud.
Let me see.
What you talking about?
Look, what Ali Dawa?
All right, let's see.
Look, she give it. Hey, he was like, hey.
Yeah,
no, he didn't. He put it to his chest.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah.
His elbows went out. His elbows went out.
Yeah. What? What happened?
His elbows went out. He patted his chest. He like.
What happens when he passes his chest? Hold on.
Watch his elbows.
What happened when he passed his chest? What does that mean?
He politely declined, I think.
But she took it well, though. Like
you know what man like.
He did. You're right. He didn't shake her hand.
Yeah, right? But she didn't act like fucking. You know, she took it well.
His chest. Good shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably said like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. She was like, oh no, bro.
Yeah, so what's going on, man? James SC, you feel like I'm gonna hold you up for being wrong think or something? I'm gonna.
Where he at? Let me pull him back.
Where's he at, man? James SC.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know how long ago my internet.
You like the man. He just wants the guillotine to come down. No, you're not. It's not execution day. Don't worry, man.
So, wait a second.
Me and your boys, man. Me and your boys. You get me?
Speaking. Can I continue? Kind of what I was saying. Like you asked for an example of a problem.
You were talking about Muslims. Yeah.
An example. I saw that. Could get worse. So yeah, like I said, kind of if Muslim immigration increases such that the Muslim population of the UK increases even faster than it would have already, then certain problems that exist and could potentially kind of get worse will be more likely to get worse. That's one example. So wait a second. So
don't tell me wait a second. I'm asking you to like expand on what you've already said. I will wait.
Thank you. So if you'll wait, then go ahead and do that. So like I was saying, like, since my internet connection is having problems, what I'd extend an offer for would be if you want to kind of debate a topic.
Right, look, we're just having a discussion. If you want to
make an assertion, then we can arrange that for a later date when my internet's a bit better.
Your internet's perfectly fine.
James, is this you right here, James?
Yeah, that's me.
That's you in the background. Your internet's better, man. So see what's happening now. You see what's happening. You're streaming video. Stop saying wait a second. Stop saying that.
Yeah, because I wasn't finished. You interrupted me, my man.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you, hold on, just chill out. Born Rich.
I'm almost done.
Born Rich, take the video off the screen because it's going to affect his bandwidth.
Okay.
Well,
it was cutting out.
That's what y'all said.
We got to keep. We got to keep.
So
it's going to be worse.
The offer I'm making.
I don't need offers, man.
Since my
ultimatums and offers
connection isn't working so well.
Having a chat, bro.
If you want to kind of make an assertion, like as a motion for a debate, like James SC, like I challenge you to a debate.
We're having one now. We're just having a conversation now. We're having a conversation.
Wait a second.
So you can go and get ready.
Hold on. Just wait until I'm finished talking, then reply.
I know what you're saying. Come on, man.
Just wait until I'm finished talking, then reply. Thank you. Okay, so we can
we're all getting old, man.
We're all getting old. That you want to challenge
I've already said no
on another date.
I've said
Is there another date that you'd like to have?
I've rejected that.
Do it.
Hello, James SC. I've said no.
Okay, if you don't want to debate me, then that's fine. Okay.
No, we're having a discussion.
Since my internet
hello. Your internet connection is fine. Your internet connection is fine.
Since you've had,
you're interrupting me in real time.
No, you're not. No, I'm not, because I wasn't.
You're interrupting me in real time. Your internet connection is fine.
Well, no, you said you gave your answer. No,
now you're talking about your internet connection. Your internet connection is fine.
We're
going back and forth.
Wait a second.
Look, we're going back and forth.
No, you don't want to debate me. That's fine. Okay.
At a later date, we're having a perfectly normal discussion now. We're having a fine discussion now. We're having a fine discussion now. Your internet connection is fine. It's cool. Let's chat.
Okay,
I am listening. Fucking hell. I've already said no.
Okay, if you're declining,
James SC, bro, hold on, James Jones.
If you're declining the opportunity,
could you tell him quickly?
At a date where I have a better internet connection,
your internet
and
connection
we don't have
fine,
much more to talk about. Are you really declining?
Don't lie about your internet connection.
Are you really declining to debate me on a day when I have a better internet connection?
The nation will wait. The nation can't wait.
Okay, you aren't willing to debate me on another day.
James SC, as we speak, Muslims are breeding, right? It's 5 a.m.
Okay, that's too bad.
We have not got the time.
You don't want to debate
we haven't got the time. We haven't got the time. Muslims are breeding as we speak, James SC.
Okay.
So I want to debate now.
It's been good talking to you guys.
Why are you going?
Since this guy doesn't want
your internet connection is fine.
Debate me on another day.
Come on, man. How do I know your internet connection is going to be bad? Oh, come on, James SC, man. The fate of the nation. This is the man. This is the man who shied away from saving his country. This man.
But he used to get bullied in high school, man. You can tell he used to get bullied in school, man.
No, but you see what happened? He started going to the park and bullying two Muslims and whatever. I don't know who he was bullying in the park. Turned up with a little Tesco bag.
He used to get bullied in high school by Asian brothers. I guarantee he used to get bullied by Asian brothers. They took his gun as well.
That's the great white hope. Yeah, that's what happened. You see what just happened? Yeah, he shied away from he could have saved the nation. This discussion, this discourse, this dialogue could have saved the nation, and this man shied away. He shied away.
He looked like he's saying "fuck off."
Man said internet connection. You fucking liar. Yeah, you liar.
No, that's what he's saying right now. He's looking at you, Dan, saying my internet connection is fucked up.
Now, do you know what it is? James SC actually he lives in like a hostel for displaced English people. They all live there. They share the same internet connection. They're all like online speaking to their families who are like living in parts of the country that have been colonized by Muslims and brown people. Obviously, they need to kind of keep familial relations tight. So everyone's on the internet. It's 5 a.m. Muslims are breeding.
Yeah, and he can't.
Internet's choking. He can't stay, man. Anyway, yeah, man. Listen. Anyway, these chocolate FNATs. I beg people, ask these lot questions. Yeah, don't let them run away when they talk about internet connections.
So what's your definition of a ethnet? Me as a guy from America who don't even know what that means.
An ethno-nationalist. So yeah, he's probably a step away from civic nationalist, which is what I guess people were saying Tommy Robinson was.
Yeah, I don't know what those are. I don't know what those. You know what I mean? Dan, like break it down to a guy like me.
Civic nationalist. So there's a couple of like nation states that exist. France, the UK, US, we could just use those for examples. Citizenship or like, I don't know, belonging to the nation is defined basically by civic, your country. So civic participation in like civic society. So you abide by the laws, the rules, the norms of the society, and you're a part of the society. An ethno-state, an ethno-nationalist kind of type setup is more about your ethnicity. So people would point to like China, although I think that's probably inaccurate because there's quite a few ethnic groups in China. But like the Han majority in China would be seen as like a Han ethno-state or whatever. People often like to talk about Africa as well. Talk about Africa and talk about like ethno-states. It kind of belies the truth. The fact is, like, most of the borders in Africa that were drawn, as you know, didn't really pay much respect to like tribal lines. So you've got countries like you could look at Nigeria. You've got Yoruba, you've got Igbo, you've got Fulani, you've got Hausa. You've got all these different tribes, right? Yeah, that could technically determine for themselves and become their own nation states, and that's probably going to be like a bloody conflict, right? So the questions that I was asking James SC. James SC is aware of the problems in Northern Ireland. We've got a kind of indigenous Irish population, Catholic population that see themselves as distinct from the Protestant Scots who live in Northern Ireland. And obviously you had the whole troubles, right, with the Loyalists and the Republicans and that whole tit for tat. Now, to me, right, and to most of us on the panel, I think we'd all agree that if you're Christian, you kind of share enough values, right? And if you're kind of European or whatever, Celtic, Gaelic, probably share the values. He himself said that he believes in the 4 tribes or whatever of the British Isles remaining the majority, right? So we've got an example of 2 of those tribes, the Celts and the Gaels, or the Irish and the Scottish, living in Northern Ireland, sharing essentially the same religion, Christianity, but then different denominations of that, beefing, right, for the last like couple hundred years. And it's been like a struggle of self-determination between the Republicans, who want 32 counties of Ireland to be united. So the 6 counties, I think, that exist in the north, the 6 counties that basically constitutes Northern Ireland and is a part of Britain. They want that thing to be back a part of Ireland, like the whole political island of the body of Ireland. Things have just gotten a little bit sticky with Brexit. There's questions about this border and what the border means, because there's like a border between the Republic of Ireland, the south, and the north. And there's talk of like armed conflict breaking out again. The IRA have got like caches of weapons. Loyalists have got caches of weapons. They were bombing and shooting each other for years, right? So that's an example, interestingly, of a Catholic majority, the Irish, the Republican Irish, and the Protestant loyalists being a minority. And actually, in terms of like this minority, they've always been like the kind of sympathy case for like nationalists, right? Nationalists have looked to the north of Ireland and seen it as this problem where their fellow brothers who are Protestant are being oppressed or whatever by a Catholic like majority boogeyman, the IRA or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's how they see it. So there's a lot of sympathy. If you go around parts of Northern Ireland that are like loyalist, they're more patriotic than like mainland British people. They have flags out and everything's like their British identity. They wear it with pride. Whereas the Catholics tend to fly the tricolour, the Irish flag. So I wanted to know from James SC. One, I mean, he sort of asked in a bit of a dumb way, like, "Oh, do you think I have the answer to like the Northern Irish question or whatever?" Well, he's had enough time to think about it. That's been the main kind of issue that nationalists have like looked to in terms of like a replacement or a minority, right? And if he hasn't been able to like extract some kind of solution from observing that for 100 years, then I want to know what he thinks is going to be fixed by just remaining a majority. And that's why I asked him the question, like, would you be okay with people who identified as Catholic and British, English or whatever, Irish, coming to England and becoming the majority over time? So essentially we'd have the same problem that we have in Northern Ireland replicated on the mainland, like a Catholic majority and a Protestant minority.
Well,
and he went straight to Islam, right? We don't have to go to Islam with the Northern Irish issue. The Muslims are like some fucking insignificant figure when it comes to that. So I wanted to know from him, right, what he saw the solution as being. And if the only problem that he identified, and I asked him what the problems were, he said, something about Muslims and the problems that they cause. And when I asked him what problems they caused, he started doing that, wait a second business. And I was just cut off. Right. But what I want to highlight, one thing, and this is a problem, unfortunately, it besets a lot of these ethno-nationalists, these British ones. They don't know what to do with Northern Ireland. And that should be the first place they look for any solutions. Don't imagine Muslims becoming a majority. You've already got the case study there. You've got a minority.
One second, Jay. Just quickly though. I think you said English, but you meant British. Because obviously he could make it's a simple argument to
yeah, but he didn't say that. He said British. He talks
about
British.
Yeah. So I'm saying,
and that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying he does this like this FNAT light. So he still kind of like clings to this. He clings to this civic British identity, which is stitched together, a construction essentially. Because the Scots, what's happening in Scotland, James Jones?
Well, then what they want to leave England?
What do they want to leave? Okay. So they see themselves as distinct politically and ethnically from us, right? Here in England.
Okay, they don't want to be British, they're gone.
Right, so they don't want to be British. The Welsh have got a devolved government, right? Which means they make decisions, right? So they don't want to be a part of like London politically either, right? It's like Brexit's happening now, this little mini Brexit, this little internal Brexit's happening. So we know what's going to happen in Ireland. Do you know what's projected to happen in Ireland, James Jones?
Well, that the Northern Ireland's going to become part of the Republic.
Yeah. So instead of doing this thing where they say, "Oh, let's wait for 60 years and then start fucking crying," you just go and just imagine it's going to happen in 10 years. A very similar political problem is going to.
But if he was an ethno-nationalist, yeah, but he was very specific about whatever he believed to be a particular specific ethnic group within England. So England specifically, would you have an issue with his perspective?
Let's
say he made the exact same argument, but he was very specific and reduced it to just England. And let's say he gave you some evidence of a particular ethnic grouping of English, distinct from all other groups. Would you accept the sympathies that he holds in that instance?
Look, his sympathies are whatever they are. It's not about me accepting them. They are what they are. I have to accept them. That's what he believes in it. I'm not.
No, would you say they were consistent? You just think it was consistent? If that's how he viewed it. If he was like, oh, exactly everything he just said, but just he localized it to England.
No, I think he'd struggle to make that case.
What, like genetically?
Well, it's on him. I mean, I don't know if you're going to think for him, but yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I kind of cheated, right? I kind of cheated because that's not the first time James SC's run away from discussing the Northern Irish question. It's not the first time. It's happened before. It happened with Pat. It happened with Pat. Pat had him on his toes.
Is Pat still about?
Pat's still about. I'm sure. Yeah, he had him on his toes.
Yeah.
So I want to know, and listen, I don't know how people think he's some little cute nerd who goes to the park, speaks, man's a legend or whatever, pet nerd or whatever. Listen, that man's talking about dragging me down or whatever. Listen, let their man's politics stay with what it is. They're trying to mix it up and blend with brown people and we're FNATs, but look, we chill with the darkies, and yes, I make ultimatums at 4 a.m. because I don't want to be pinned down on exactly what my politics are, because Born Rich Films might not take down the stream if I request it. That's what he's on.
To be honest, in my opinion, I don't think it's that he's ashamed. I think,
bro, man went up to Ralph in the park and said, I feel a little bit let down by your recent appeasement of the Muslims. You've been I don't know what to think. I thought you were defending me and mine. You thought Ralph, the brown guy, was going to back you, James. Listen.
Yeah, but that's regardless.
Let me ask you another question, James. Do you think? Let me ask you another question. Do you think, given his sympathies, that he's going to be in a place to critique, let's say, further right people than himself? Where do you think his critiques start?
To be honest with you, I can't. I've discussed with him and people like Arondo.
Elronda's a waste, man. Elronda's a waste. Listen,
I don't know his position, and to be fair, to be honest, James SC seldom jumps on to have debates against those people. So that absence of evidence could bolster your claim. But I can't remember what his position is in relation to those people that are further super far.
Let me just read out something from the James SC chip. James SC is so chill, and Dan is trying to make him out to be some evil Nazi. I literally said he's Anne-Marie Waters, and he said it himself. I'm not trying to make him out to be a Nazi, right? Everyone on the panel witnessed. I said you're kind of like Anne-Marie Waters, Britain first or whatever, and he said yes. My assessment of him was accurate, and he accepted it. So don't fucking cry in the chat, pay no attention, whatever the fuck. Crying in the chat. Listen, your guy debates Muslims on I'm not a Muslim, yeah. I don't debate theology with this guy. I've always suspected that James SC is an undercover FNAT, right? And he's kind of had his little coming out. And to be fair, James Jones, I don't think you did this whole little dry run with him where you posed questions that you imagined I was going to ask him ahead of this debate that we had lined up ages ago. The man wouldn't jump on to debate me. He wouldn't jump on to debate me. I had 2 or 3 nights. And listen, he had his one sec. He had his little soft coming out as an FNAT moment on G Block, right? That's cool. Why he gets checked on that? You should get checked on that. You should get
checked. But we had this. But I could get for instance, the other day we was in the comments and he was saying that if if a white man sees another white woman with a black man, that he has a right to, or he can empathize with them feeling somewhat disconcerted by it. And I was like, huh? And like I tried to explore it. Obviously, the limitations. We was in the chat, and I fundamentally feel like we only scratched the surface. I feel like that there's I don't know, man. What's the word I'm looking for? Like that is there.
So
there
basically,
is.
so if you see Veli and his baby mum, he'd feel uncomfortable.
But this is the thing, right? So he was saying not personally, but I was like, but then how can you empathize with them feeling disquieted by it? I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. And we didn't get a chance to, like I said, to explore it further.
Check it out.
There's a lot of people don't agree with James SC on, but we agree fundamentally on
check it out as well. Right? The Tommy Robinson narrative. What's the difference between the Tommy Robinson narrative and the Mark Collette narrative? Given that they're both talking about indigenous people now, what's the difference? Who's a Civnat and who's an FNAT?
So I'm not super familiar, but from what I understand,
I'm saying the narratives are basically the same now. They're both talking about
Tommy Robinson and ages.
Right. So they're both talking about indigenous, remaining the indigenous majority and all of this stuff.
Okay.
So I'm saying this man in the chat saying he's so middle of the road. Listen, I don't know if you've been listening to what's been going on like the right, but Ralph himself has been like, he's been calling it, right? He's been saying they're going to burn the middle ground, burn the fence. There is no getting rid of this whole distinction between FNATs and CivNats and just create some super nat, right? This unified kind of body of nationalists or whatever. James SC is like, go on.
No, I'm saying that assumes that there is. So, like, would you argue is the common property amongst them? Like, because I would argue it's
they're both controlled by the government. They're both controlled by the government. Tommy Robinson and Mark Collette.
I would have argued the common property is nationalism, but and this is just from my understanding, the distinguishing characteristic is that one is inclusivity and one is exclusivity. So if Tommy Robinson's consistent, his argument, he could never join with an ethno-nationalist, because he's saying when he says British, like there'll be a categorical difference between their definitions of British, and one would say British equals white only, and the other would say British equals white, brown, yellow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one?
But if the overarching narrative.
Yeah. Which one says British equals white, brown, yellow?
That's apparently Tommy Robinson, from what I understand, but I could be wrong. That's what I hear he says. I don't know.
Oh, he's more covert with the.
Like he's like Jupiter's fucking favorite guy. Like, so he will allow Jupiter and Hector to exist in his fucking ideal society.
But yeah, because he's more covert, right? He's more under the table. It's like, I got a black wife. You know what I mean? He's the type of guy that says, I got a black wife, but I'm not racist.
Have you been following the narrative around Black Lives Matter? So you've seen like the BLM stuff. Essentially, they're saying the same thing. Mark Collette is saying exactly the same thing as Tommy Robinson, as Anne-Marie Waters, as all of these lot. They're all saying the same thing. It's all the same narrative.
What are they saying now? What's the same thing now? Like, what are you saying that is?
That everyone should go and support Black Lives Matter. Obviously not. Like they're anti-Black Lives Matter. That's something they've all like rallied.
No. I'm saying. What like as in is Tommy now saying he wants British to be white majority? So like what he's arguing.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he said that.
Oh, right, cool. So yeah, then they are.
The indigenous majority narrative is lined up. You've had the other narrative, which is this anti-BLM, whatever else, cultural Marxism, whatever the hell it's wrapped up as. Cultural Marxism is an interesting one as well, because essentially what's shared between the two, I guess, Tommy Robinson and that would still disavow anti-Semitism. They don't want to see themselves as being anti-Semitic. But the thing is, it gets into that when you start talking about cultural Marxism, because a Mark Collette supporter will talk about cultural Marxism or cultural Bolshevism and name Jews, right? Yeah. Their whole issue, the FNAT's issue is you won't name the Jew, Tommy Robinson. So you talk about cultural Marxism, but you won't tell us who the Jewish academics who hold up that kind of academic sphere.
But why would he? Right? Why would he tell us?
But because of certain funding. But I mean, look, this kind of gets away from the point. Whether or not you kind of believe that there's
That's
this like.
interesting, though. You know what? I take your point there, though. That is, yeah, like literally, that is the difference. Because I see a lot of these FNATs. That's the reason they bash Tommy Robinson. Like it's always about the JQ, yada yada yada. And now I think about it, it's actually true though, because they literally will do everything up until the point of saying it's the Blues, it's the small lads. But they will essentially ambiguously name them. They will march through the institutions, whatever it is, Frankfurt School. They will implicate Jews, but will never call them out directly. So
let me ask you this, though. Jimmy, let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this, brother. Now, do you think that those groups exist and thrive in America? The CivNats, the FNats, all of them.
Of course they do. All these alt-rights, all these variations of right wing, and all of these spokespeople. Yeah, of course they exist, and there's different like gradient. What's the word? Like there's different like levels of your degrees of right leaning in it. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yes. I got you. Let me ask you this though, Jay. What are the solutions?
New solution. Oh shit!
All right, now listen.
God.
So what I'm saying is, so when I say what are the solutions, I mean like when you hear these people talk about their fucking grand plan, their master plan to do what they want to do. What are the solutions that let's just say black people can do?
No, but even if
be armed in it.
Narrative,
you need to be armed.
Even if we listen to the narrative, they've already lost. Like they are the victims. They're perennial victims. Like any one of these. So I was just having this argument with them the other day with some of the guys on G Block. Like any argument they make is from essentially a losing position, or it's from some kind of defeatist perspective. Like we've lost the war. You see, like it's almost like they're complaining to other white people to sort of take heed of the grave mistakes they've made. Like, look, you see what you've done kneeling for BLM. You see what you've done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, this is what I'd say. Yeah, the solution as they see it is deport people, make people aware of the issues, and vote people into power who are going to be more race conscious or more conscious of the indigenous plight, right? That's what they would say their solutions are. What I would say the solutions are when you encounter these people is you talk them down off the ledge, right? You show them facts. You ask them questions like you ask them about Northern Ireland. You make them think outside of their box because they just think, oh well, if we're all just white, we'll all just get along and kumbaya. That's nonsense.
They're literally it's an entirely emotional position.
Dan,
it's not.
Dan, hold on, James. Are you saying this in real life or on like what platform will you be talking to these people in real life?
Bruv, listen, I've been smoking FNATs for fucking 2 years now.
I don't know about person, innit? We want about in person, innit?
Meet these people. You think these people speak about this stuff in polite company? They don't listen. None of these people are brave. These people exist online.
I grew up on these people. I've seen these people in my life, innit? I grew up with EDL lads. Like so, this shit I've seen in person, and this only works violence, and it only works physical. When you fuck up these people physically, that's the only time it works. That's the only way you.
Yo, bro, but listen, that's already happened. That's already. Bro,
shit don't work, man. You can't chat to these people. Man.
Yo, Shaka, listen. What do you think they're doing on the internet, bro?
No, but yeah, that's different. I'm on about real life and these
man.
Listen,
real life. What I'm saying, real life. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they got smacked up on the streets. Yeah, they got outnumbered on the streets, and fucking beaten up by like students and shit. And then they put on suits and basically just went into like politics, indoor politics. That's what they've done. Now they've come back out on the internet and they're trying to like pull strings to get people out to come to little demonstrations here and little things there and whatever else. But the whole thing's dying. The whole thing's their whole thing is dying.
It's dying in big cities, but in smaller cities, fam, it's not a small thing. Obviously now, it's racism, like the obvious like blatant racism when someone will call you nigger. That shit has kind of died out in it. But for like that in big cities, man, a lot of smaller cities, that shit's still there. Racial division and that, man, and it's still there, and a lot of youths face it in it. But like,
where you from, Leeds?
Yeah, man, I'm Midlands in it. But I grew up in Stoke and Brom in it, but Stoke and Brom and
Stoke on Trent. You ever come across a guy called Fascist Phil? He might have had you on your toes. He's from Stoke on Trent.
How old is he? Because I'm a bit younger, brother.
You'll encounter Phil at some point. He's from Stoke on Trent. He's a top F-nut out here, man. He's more of a Marxist these days.
Bro, listen, there's EDL. I grew up with EDL lads. EDL lads, they used to chase us after school, and we had to fight them with battles, with fucking baton sticks and shit. So there's like, I got used to this shit, man. For all the football lads and that, it's like that's why I say like it's not new, man. The only way that you used to man can is violence.
I'm not encouraging the violence. You have to watch that them kind of talks on the internet as well, bro. You have to watch them. You have to watch them.
What is it? Is this a reunion? They're saying Dan. People in the chat is saying Dan and James is getting back together for the reunion.
Hey, man,
talk to me, Dan. Is this the reunion?
Come on.
Hetero Sapiens got to be. I don't know where AS is, but
no, that's the group Jupiter said y'all was in.
Doxing.
It was you, James Jones, Hetero Sapien, and
Doxing Raspect.
Man, y'all bullshit, bro.
You know what? Yeah, I'm glad you're here. No, hold on. We never. Man, never, because man's bad, too bad for that. Like, we never addressed them kind of idiot thing.
But
this
Jimmy,
woman's a psycho.
I don't know, Jimmy.
No,
if you
listen,
go ahead.
I'm trying to tell you, this fucking crazy woman, she admits. One day she admits she doxed herself. Other day it's this one's fault. Other day it's that one's fault. Other day she's never doxed no one. Other day she's doxed this. Like, bro, she's the least serious person, and every second bar is I fucking had enough of it. I've had enough. Like, bro, when I first came on the internet, she's arguing with people that are arguing with her real name. So she knows people know her real name the day I came on. So she's just chatting a one bag of shit, bro. Every other day she brings up.
I know, I hear that, Jimmy. But she said that you, Afghan Esau, like the king of the trolls, right?
I didn't even know Esau.
Afghan called y'all this, the king of the trolls. Y'all fucking got Jupiter's kids' pictures and put it in a group, and then start putting the shit on the internet. That's weird, Jimmy.
Fuck you,
bro. I heard today. I doxed her kids, Raspect's kids, Veli's kids, and someone else has got kids. I don't know. Whoever else has got kids,
Afghan, right? Can we say? I hate to call names, right? But she said Afghan.
No, bro. To be honest with you, I was in a group of Afghan back in the day. Never did I ever see anyone. The only thing I ever saw, if I'm honest, was Ralph's wife, and that was because she was on speakers calling her COE. Like, that's it. There's no one ever doxed no one's kids. That wouldn't. Not only would that never have been okay, but it just didn't even happen. So I can't even pretend that I took some moral ground and said, yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I knew her name from day dot I came online. People were addressing her by her fucking name, and she said the other day when it was less tension, she said, I doxed myself when I came online, big mistake, like people knew where I live, and then even actually I tell her, like, I don't want snitching on her because she's an idiot. Zubaydah used to talk about her on Company's House. She had a failed business, this and that. Early before the
crazy. Yeah, I know that's crazy, Jimmy. Jimmy, you've been around, man. But Jimmy, you safe over here. You safe over here, Jimmy, man. Turn your camera on, bro. Show your face to your brother.
Hey, I'll tell you.
Listen.
You safe over here, Jimmy, man.
I've got to get this in. I don't know what's going on.
Then I have to disagree with you when you say the violence doesn't work. I'm all for violence. I've always been on that. So when you say it doesn't work,
listen, from I see the Malema, I know what time it is, bro. I know what time it is. You ain't got to tell me that.
It's been working for man, innit? You get me?
No, bro. Listen. No one can't ever bring their. Listen, if it's individuals bringing their politics to you, your face, and whatever, and trying to, we know what time it is then, and that's not. Yeah, it's not a negotiable. But yeah, I mean, look, these lot don't want fights, man. They don't want that. They don't really want that. They want chaos. They want people stabbing each other and shooting. That's why. Listen, you see most of these racists. They're the man who are bringing in the big bits of coke and all of that sort of stuff. They're the big heads. You know? They bring in the drugs and they bring in the straps. It's not. We talk about the government. It's fucking random white guys in Essex who vote BNP and shit. That's who's bringing it in. And then they let the fucking straps.
On the minute. I
no, bro,
all
over the
football
country.
lads in it. The football lads will burn a fucking mosque in it. That's the niggas that I saw growing up in.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Growing up and burning up the fucking pop. You get me? Them are the lads that them lads, yeah, they're the fucking lads. If I see I was in conflict within it. So I can't speak for the rich fuckers in them. I speak for the country lads who would call you a fucking nigger and a packy and say they'll burn your fucking dad's shop. You know what I mean? You get me? That's who I grew up seeing in my life, innit? So
listen, I got a little dirty Afghan. I got a dirty Afghan being saying the same thing. I don't know about that. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter. No one can't. Listen, I don't want to get drawn out anyway. I'm not jumping on bellies to get drawn out either. Listen, what I'm going to say, is there's a bag of infiltration going on. Yeah, and I'm not there to call it out. I'm not going to call it out every time. I showed people Jordan Gold. What is Jordan Gold doing on the panel? Man's got 4 passports. Who's got 4 passports? What do you mean, who's Jordan Gold?
Oh, George.
What do you mean, who's Jordan Gold?
I don't know, bro. Is that Jewish gold?
But Dan, I don't know, Dan. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's a threat to you guys in the UK. But to me, who gives a shit?
Yes,
like,
but this is what I'm saying.
You're scared of shit. You're scared of shit in Kentucky, bro. Stop talking in Tennessee. You're scared of shit.
Who's scared, James? Who's scared?
Shivering. I can hear you shivering right now, bro.
Jimmy, come on, stop. Jimmy. It's a guy that works at the store that has blown my fucking brains out. You think I'm worried about George? What are you talking about, Jimmy?
Shut up.
He's got 4 passports, bitch.
I don't give a fuck about him. What can he do to me?
Yo, the way the government sees it.
Come on, Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
You have interest, right? Because you're prepared to defend yourself, and you see threats from groups who football lads or whatever. Right? The government will consider those people fascists, generally, or far right fascists. That's what they see them as, and people who fight against them. So that whole thing that happened in Trafalgar Square last year, where the football lads come down, Tommy Robinson called out the whole fucking every firm in London and whatever else.
Was you down there, Dan? Was you down there at the battle?
To get myself fucked? No.
Hell no, Dan. Hell no, Dan. Yeah, right. People was down there at the battle.
Listen,
you wasn't.
Since when? Listen. I don't know. I've never responded to a call out from Tommy Robinson. Man, we're protecting statues. What? Who's protecting statues?
Hey, Dan, has your
people
opinion
can call you on internet?
Bro, that was a good one. Has your opinion on Jordan M changed, though?
On who?
On Jordan M. Do you think?
Your guy, the white guy.
Has your opinion on him changed? I'm not trying to get you to stop. I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm saying, has your opinion on him changed, or you still think he's legit? Like what he says is what he is.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? I think he's a spook? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I was asking, what do you think of him? Like, is you? Because I know.
No. Be straight, innit? Be straight, because you're online. Listen. I'm just gonna say this. Yeah, you are online engaging with agents on a daily basis. You chat to a bag of these spooky characters, Ralph, Jordan Gold, Elron, all of these weird spooks who turn up out of nowhere. And I guess they're there doing a job, right? That's their job. They're there to monitor the far right, but they're also there to monitor reactions to it. People who don't like the far right, people who jump on. So when I jumped on, people were talking about, I'm Antifa. What's Antifa? Antifa where? Who's Antifa?
Hey, can I ask you another question?
They say you are, though.
So what I'm saying...
That's what the people
you said something about Lister.
Listen.
Has he bugged out with you too? Has he bugged out with you? Because he called me a very neo-reactionaries.
You might have let Ralph get. You might have let Ralph get away with some madness. I don't know what's going on. With you. You lot are letting Ralph get away with some madness, bro.
People say this.
That's a fact, man.
No. Hey, stop it, boy.
Listen, there's a whole set. You don't debate him, man. You don't debate him.
How should I not debate? I debate him on everything, bro. What should I say?
Man. Bro, listen.
No, hold on.
Listen. What did Ralph used to do when I used to jump on panels?
Cut.
What did he used to do?
He used to run.
Have you run him off the panel? Do you run him off the panel?
He used to run.
Nah, he likes me.
No. That's what I'm saying. You run him off the panel. You don't run him off the panel. That's what I'm saying. You don't make that man too comfortable around there.
He likes
to big up the people talking about I'm a clown. Listen, Michael Jones, jump on the panel, speak freely if you want, innit? Calling out the fucking agentry and whatever. You can't tell me nothing about
Listen,
can't tell me nothing about that.
Has Lister accused you of some conspiratorial shit yet?
But I like Lister.
Big him up. I don't dislike it. I'm just saying, the other day he just bugged out on me and Belly. He started switching at Belly, talking about Belly's. It's immoral for Belly to take donation.
Fuck those, man. I don't know. What about Lister?
Well, big up Lister if he's listening. Big him up still.
No, Lister, you need to start calling man out as well. Lister's gone all soft on Ralph too. He's gone soft on him as well.
Are you mad? He fucking freaked out the other day, bro.
He's gone soft on Ralph, bro. He's gone soft on Ralph.
How? He told Belly that if Belly has him on his platform, number one, Belly, that means Belly's NRX. And he said also if Ralph's on his platform and he accepts any donations.
Listen. What do you know? What is the NRX? What is it?
What it's neo-reactionaries, I think.
But what is
neo,
it? What's the goal?
The neo is it Cameron? Yeah, that's
what they believe in. What do they want? What do they want to achieve, and how do they want to do it?
From my understanding, they want to almost corporatize society and create some situation where it's almost like a customer corporation relationship between citizens and the hegemony in it, from my understanding.
Yeah, but one of their goals is essentially to gain control of narratives, like divergent narratives.
Oh, like the acceleration concept. Okay, yeah, I get you.
Well, that's happening already. You can't tell me that that's not happening on Vedis.
But I don't. Do you know how I don't agree? Yeah, that is like firing a dart into a field and painting a bullseye over it. It's like, oh look, there's conflict amongst these groups. Acceleration, like, oh, what that lies in. That wasn't the case.
Well, let me ask you this. All right, so cool. So the trolls that are on the panel who don't have any kind of political goal and who aren't, because it's not just NRX people who are utilizing it. You're seeing these weird fucking Danny Simpsons, all these little pussy holes, for Britain idiots and that. Jumping on the panel talking about accelerate. So when they say accelerate, what they mean is exacerbate existing conflicts, existing issues between people, between ethnic groups or whatever. So I'll tell you one of the first things they've clocked, we need to make a political distinction between African Caribbeans and Africans, British Africans. There's a distinction there. And exacerbate. Accelerate, exacerbate. And it's easy to do. So you get someone jumping on the panel, someone might just jump on and say, well, it won't sound racist. They'll say something like, I was looking recently at the stats and it seems that Nigerians are doing awfully well. So the Nigerians pat themselves on the back and they start shitting on Caribbeans.
Are you familiar with Hanlon's Razor?
I agree.
You see what I'm saying, Bormich? You see what I'm saying?
I agree, man. I disagree.
So that's one play.
I do see that.
That's one play.
But that's an easy divide.
No, but you're gonna get it as well. They'll go, oh, James, you're an intelligent East African. You don't need to be the same as these Caribbean people, these West African, these Bantus.
Banksy was trying that shit, man. Banksy tries.
No, but listen to what I'm saying. I hate. Don't you wrong. I hate you. Listen, you're finding distinct qualities amongst groups and using it against them. That isn't.
Listen, brother. We're not talking about it in terms of just any trolling, create some chaos on the panel because people are bored and depressed and whatever else. We're talking about it for some sort of political kind of goal. They've got a goal, right? Not who jumps on the panel, who jumps on Vedis, and who's like a part of a political party. Vedis not a part of a political party. I don't think you are. Most of the people just shitpost. Then you've got Elrons. Yeah. You've got taking at face value. You've got Ralph. You've got this For Britain guy. You've got all of these people. You've got they've got political movement.
Banksy.
Hold on. Once again, yeah. What is your argument against attributing it to coincidence, incidents, and stupidity? What's your argument against that?
Because the fact that Ralph literally goes on his stream and narrates it openly, right? And it goes above people's. You think Veli is going to tune in? You think Veli understands what neo-reactionary is? You think he understands the politics? He doesn't. He just knows there's people jumping.
I think you're being unfair.
No, I'm not being
No,
unfair because
no, hold on.
I'm not because bruv, I'm not because Shaka doesn't know what NRX is. Born Rich doesn't know. Enough of these people don't know.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying you're assuming that his reluctance to, like, let's say if you ask him to define it, is based on him not being able to understand
it's
it.
not about Veli. Rather he discusses it outright and thinks, forget Veli. Forget Veli. Listen, forget Veli. Yeah, forget Veli. Yeah. Ralph has clocked, for example. Ralph has clocked. Let's use this example, right? Ralph looked at Gang and looked at Speaker's Corner and saw all Gang. They were all black. They went to Speaker's Corner. What happened? Right? What happened at Speaker's Corner between Gang and the Muslims? There was issues, right?
I mean, it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So then, what? Then the takeaway was go away. No, okay. Issues between blacks and Muslims. Note down. Okay. So if that's an assumption and you test that theory, then you can then basically just sow discontent between blacks and Muslims. So Veli's panel's ideal, right? Veli's panel, atheist panel, all great. Let's jump on Veli's and go at Muslims, right? And then Veli's getting flack from Muslims, getting boycotted by Muslims and whatever else. And Veli's like, forget what Veli's reaction is. I don't really business about, but I'm seeing other people use that to their advantage. And I'm seeing other people. No, hold on. And you're not going to be able to prove me wrong on this. No one else is using that chaos. No one else is using that chaos for any kind of political agenda, right? And you could say that's the fault of black people in this country that they don't jump on the politics. They don't jump on representing any politics. I don't jump on I don't say vote Labour, vote Conservative.
Yeah. Black people don't care.
I don't say that.
Bro. In the same way I can't disprove yours, and I'll agree. I mean, I'm not really that inclined to any of it, but or motivated to. But I don't think you can disprove it being a combination of coincidence and or stupidity.
What does black and white? What does black and white unite mean?
That black people and white people should unite against a common threat.
Who's pushing that narrative at the moment?
Tommy Robinson, from what I understand.
Right. Okay. So and Jupiter on the panel as well, right?
Yeah.
So even Jupiter, you can say even.
Hold on, we're gonna say that fucking. We're gonna say that degenerate is an accelerator or one of these fucking political agitators.
Yeah, of course, you can use it. Listen, what's she on there for?
Huh? Because she's bored as shit, bro. Her life is garbage. What do you think?
Who's she talking? Who's she talking on behalf of? Who's she plugged in with?
Karen's.
Trying to talk about Tommy Robinson, like whatever.
Yes. So even Jupiter has a politic. Even Jupiter, when she gets on that panel, has a politic. One sec. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Who else is jumping on the panels apart from these FNATs and CIVNATs with any kind of politic that they jump on and accelerate their vehicle with? Their political vehicle. What can they use? How can they use the dynamics of certain panels to accelerate? There's no one else. You're not jumping on to say, all right, boom, I'm going to go on, this is my politic, and I'm going to use the fact that there's all of these little different schisms and whatever else to my advantage politically. You're not doing that because you haven't got a politic that you represent like that. And a lot of people don't. What I'm saying is these Speaker's Corner panels, Speaker's Corner, whatever else, it's essentially like a focus group. You put together different people and allow them to vent their irrational beliefs.
Yeah, but people are political though. Like I'm not denying that, and that's not a point of contention. What we're saying is so you've made the statement, and as have I, that we cannot disprove each other's theses, right? But I would argue that it's more likely that these people, what we're seeing is because remember as well, we can take one heuristic approach, that is to say we can use a subjective view and say you're not a political agitator. No, I don't believe you are. Nor am I. Maybe you do, but let's assume that you don't believe I am for the sake of this argument. Nor is Born. But we've all still found this space, and we all still have somewhat political views. So we can assume at the very least, the default principle has to be, if we can't disprove each other's ideas, the default principle has to be most of these people are probably not. Maybe a portion of them, a minority of them are these political agitators. But I don't think as of yet there is enough evidence to suggest they are, bro. In my honest opinion, I don't think there is.
Bruv, it's as clear as day. Ralph literally says on the streams that he's going through these phases. If you've listened to what he said, all of his phases have corresponded with certain kind of schisms, major schisms that have occurred on the panels. He's literally narrated it, and he puts his streams on private so people don't get to see it. Bro, I'm telling you for fact there is a political value to this nonsense that gets spewed on the streams. There is. And if you don't have a politic, and I don't, and most people who jump on the panels, there's not really any like politic that they can like immediately benefit from, then essentially you're just feeding someone else's.
How do you know? No, but be real, yeah. Firstly, all of that shit is ad hoc. This nigga goes wherever the wind flows. Like blows. Sorry, there's no way that this is part of some deep fucking political plan of his. He literally is jumping on the back of any bandwagon that's going. Yeah. So that's the reason I don't take him seriously. Like look at his ignominious fucking fall from grace with the Mark Collette guy, from jumping on streams, being his fucking wooden and man.
Let me ask you that. Do you know how Ralph? Do you know how that all fell apart for Ralph? Do you know what happened? Do you know what the narrative was that fucked him up?
No, not particularly. Not specific.
The fact that he said there was a video in the park where Lister confronted him and said, "Did you say you were involved in a grooming gang?"
Oh yeah, nothing. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
And where did that come off the back of?
You.
Right.
Okay.
But I get. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I get. How,
hold on. No, don't talk about his.
Hold on. One second. I get how
Ralph got a push. Ralph got a push from me, and he got a push from Lister. And then when it went into the little Telegram groups and whatever else, it was Liam, right, who was shouting the loudest, saying, "This guy said he was in a grooming scandal or whatever in East London, and he didn't report it to the police." That's what he said.
Yeah. But hear what I'm saying, yeah. But he had already overblown his involvement. One, he had already made predictions and attached himself to that wagon, and the fact that it failed, but it proved that he was at the very least a glory hunter. It didn't show that he himself had any sway or influence. That's my point. Like, as in him being this grandmaster tactician and a strategist and accelerator, he fell flat on his face when we saw his little fall from grace from that group, innit? Like, and what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to convince you, bro. Like, you have somebody that you're trying to convince me.
One second. What fall from grace?
What do you mean? From him being the go-to, he articulated all these morons' positions for them, and they all deferred to him. To now, everybody outright rejecting him, even the Jupiters of this world. Remember, he used to speak for them, and now he doesn't speak for none of them. The point is that doesn't strike me as some master strategist who has his finger in all these. No, that shows me as a.
Let me explain something.
As a fantasist
Hold on. Do you know who the 37 are?
Is that the 37 words?
37 words. Yeah.
They're like signats, right?
No, they're like
English. What's the 14 words? What is that? Double 14 plus 14?
People are talking. Fucking hell! People are talking about a conspiracy. I'm nuts. All right, whatever, man. No worries.
Is that 14?
You lot keep up. You lot keep up your little.
I don't
hold
know.
On. The 37. Listen, basically, look, forget it. The 37 is a little breakaway group of FNATs, right? Who, for one reason or another, either they believe that Mark Collette is a weak leader, or they believe there's too much like scandal that's hit Patriotic Alternative, or the 14 crowd. That's the group that represents the 14. For one reason or another, they've broken away and created this little, it's like a little pressure group. You can see it as that they kind of put pressure on Mark Collette to do things and whatever else. It's like Phil, Liam, England, Streets, a couple of these man, right? I'm going to read out a list, right, of issues within PA, right? This is from one of their own Telegram groups.
What is PA? What is PA for the
Patriotic Alternative, right? So this is the group that Mark Collette is a head of. And people talk about overblowing Ralph's involvement in PA. Mark Collette is infamous for poor leadership. Let me just tell you that. Ralph probably wouldn't have got kicked out if it wasn't for the pressure that the 37 lot put on him, basically calling him like Pajit and all this sort of stuff and saying that all this groomer stuff, right? PA still, right, had members. They got one member called Dangerfield. I'm just going to read this out. Tranny fucker, quote, race mixer, quote, expat, right? Another guy called Ayatollah, who's apparently Lebanese. They've got Charlie Big Potatoes, who's a fugitive living in Spain with links to like National Action, so terrorist groups. Not a good look. Then you've got Chris. They say Dopey Chris, Spice Boy, Hugh. This is some other fucking guy. He's got like a mixed race kid or something, mixed race relationship, and he also lives in like Thailand. Millennial Woes. He's formerly homosexual. Had some sort of sex scandal with like a girl at one of the Patriotic Alternative events, may have like raped or I don't know, done some weird shit. Some guy called James Shand, who's a paedophile. Some guy called Jakes, is an Arab. Nativist Concern, he lived with Nativist Concern lived with James Shand the nonce, and some gay guy, and this is from their group, mugged by Antifa. Secret Sources was also MPA, former policewoman and a doxer, so they say. Some other guy called Edward Dutton who lives abroad. Miss Britannia, she was a lefty infiltrator. Ralph, NRX infiltrator, Pajit. Basically, right, there's a bunch of people within Patriot Alternative that didn't get kicked out. They didn't. But Ralph, all they said to Ralph was, you're no longer allowed to publicly speak for PA, is what they said. And like they want distance. Ralph was offering PA, don't know if you knew this, he was offering them some sort of electoral like software, some sort of algorithm, data, or whatever else that would help them to target.
Yeah, I know the story that he oversold. He upsold this idea that he had this. Was it like this data collection, like finding out how many people were racist?
He himself has said he's got 8,000 names. People in the chat say, "Oh, what fucking conspiracy!" Literally, you're telling me Ralph hasn't pulled strings? Ralph was the guy who said he was going to shoot Rashma Akhtar and mock the New Zealand shooting. Now he's cool with Muslims. And you don't think he... One sec. To the guy in the chat. How does that happen? How does Ralph go from being the number one op for Muslims, yeah, talking about Aisha and this and that in the past?
They're fucking idiots, bro. What do you mean? Because they're stupid as shit. Well, like, come on, bro. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Hold on, wait 1 second, please, for a moment.
So cool. So some people have strings attached. Some people
listen, you have to hear some pushback on this. How can this not be explained by his insatiable narcissism and everybody else's willingness to engage being fueled by their fucking stupid? Because he wants attention. He jumps on Venice because he wants attention. He fuels this kind of response. He fuels this stuff. He I don't like the term gaslighting. He fuels that shit. Do you know how fucking he is motivated by his ability to make people believe he is more than what he is. Like, it is delusions of grandeur, Dunning-Kruger, whatever you want to refer to it as. And people like me, whenever you're shocked by how we interact with him, it's because we accept that, but we do value him for his merits, which is he is really good at taking horrendous arguments and making them somewhat sort of interesting to debate and discuss with. Like, he will fashion nonsense into somewhat of a retort or rejoinder, and it's fun. You've
always got way too much out of you and I don't know if it's some like intellectual masturbation thing with you. You just like being around intelligent people or something. I've told you this from day. You're little like this. You're enamored by Ralph. Yeah, you see him as some sort of like some guy who you can like steel sharpen steel sort of thing. I'm saying to you, no, that's not the case. That guy has been running rings around people. Unless you stick it on Ralph. When I say stick it on him, listen, the man got plenty of panels. Even if they're not on Veddies, they can get all the data they need from Veddies. You want me to lay it out again? Ralph is a spook. Bruv, the things that Ralph has done, you can't get away with doing in this country. The laws that exist in this country.
What has he done?
What do you mean give you one? Bruv, listen. I don't know where C4 Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen. I'm talking about that. Listen. There's enough evidence, right? You can't. Who is it? Right, let me tell you this. Right? Let me tell you this. Born rich. All right. Let me. Okay. Right. Listen to what I'm saying, because I know you've been sipping tonight, yeah? James Jones, I dare you to go and get the logo for any group that's on the prescribed terrorist list and display it as your profile picture now.
But can I actually find the list on Google?
Yeah. So go search prescribed groups UK, whatever.
Prescribed terrorist groups, yeah, or not just prescribed groups.
Yeah, pick anyone, find a logo, and display it as your profile picture. You're going to be breaking the law, so bear that in mind.
I'm not going to do it, obviously, but I'm just going to.
Okay. Listen, Ralph. One sec. Ralph jumped on Raspek's panel one morning and changed his flag to some mad group that's like the armed wing of the Muslim Brotherhood or something. I didn't even know what it was. Someone in the chat, C4 Blaster, clocked it and was like, bruv, man's displaying that's a terrorist group. Like, what's he doing? But I started asking him questions. Ralph, how are you able to do that? He's like, oh, are you going to report me to the police in Germany? Oh, I'm not good. Oh, Germany or not, it's still illegal in Germany. This guy's threatening people. One sec. No, bro. Listen, man are talking. Stop talking this troll business. He's not a fucking troll.
But what is he? What is he really?
I've already told you.
Wait, hold on. You hold on. One second.
Listen.
You
hold on. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to. Again, listen. No, bro. Listen. I don't know Ralph's got something on you. Yeah. I don't know what Ralph's got over you. Yeah. But you need to think. No, bro. You're not talking as well, man. You're not. No, I'm not. Don't talk about better than this, bro. You listen. Bruv. Listen. Let me get into it, man. Ralph. The things that Ralph. Who can infiltrate groups? Who infiltrates groups? Who does that?
It don't matter.
Born rich.
Then you know it don't matter in the grand scheme of things, brother.
Born rich. Listen, in terms of your day-to-day engagement with this guy, it matters a lot. Yes, it does.
Why?
What do you mean? For the reasons that I've outlined above.
Yeah, why?
He's operating in some sort of official capacity, and at the very least, he's operating in a political one. And no one else hardly anyone else on the panels operates in that same capacity.
Bro, are you familiar?
What does that mean, Dan? What does that mean? He's operating in
an official capacity.
Yeah,
like he's working. Hold on. One second. Are you saying? Hold on. Listen. This is what I mean.
Don't act so baffled by this. No.
Hold on, wait. Listen.
What this is.
I beg you wait. Let me finish.
This is feigned ignorance.
Please, let me finish with not one question, yeah, because I make life simple for myself and you. Yeah? You at least are self-aware enough to see that you haven't presented what could be considered a slam dunk argument as to what he is, right? At least, at the very least, you can see that, right? So look at it from our perspective, just for a moment.
Bro, listen, a year ago, you thought the same idea. Bro, listen, he's just a narcissist. We're pushing it uphill now. Listen, okay, cool. So any narcissists seem to be immune from prosecution, seem to be immune from scrutiny by the police.
He's not though. You haven't seen him do anything crazy. What do you mean? Just come on, bro.
Now you want to look the other way. This is what I'm saying. Bro, you know exactly what I'm saying as well. You do know exactly what I'm saying. So anyway, for the people who can see it, if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. There's two options.
I don't.
Well, I don't. I'm honest. It's been a long time. We've had this argument long time ago.
We didn't have this argument. We didn't have any arguments a long time ago. No.
About this specific thing, yes, we did. And you believe.
No,
you believe, you believe that I'm
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How are groups in the UK, political groups, how are they controlled?
I don't know, to be honest.
Well, just imagine. How are they controlled? How would you imagine if you
had by whom kind of thing?
By the government?
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. How are they controlled?
Like by infiltration.
Right. And what else?
Manipulation.
Right. And other stuff. So let's just stick with the infiltration one. Are you aware of any previous infiltrations in like left-wing groups, right-wing groups, or whatever in the UK? Have you got any kind of...
Told me about them, but no, I don't like off the top of my head.
So you couldn't name like a spy cop, for example?
A spy cop?
A spy cop. Do you know what a spy cop is?
A spy cop?
Spy cop. Yeah. Do you know what the spy cop scandal was?
The spy cop?
No, I don't know.
Open your Google and type in the name Mark Kennedy, spy cop.
Can you just give me a summary?
You could just read along as I'm talking to you. So Born Rich. I don't know if you want to get up on the screen or something, man. Spy cops. Spy cops. Yeah. SPYCOPS. So basically, the spy cop scandal was a scandal involving undercover police who worked for, it was two divisions of the Met Police, the National Public Order something unit and the Special Demonstration Squad, I think it was called. Basically, those two groups, over about 30 years, Freedom of Information Acts and other stuff have like revealed. Infiltrated groups, predominantly on the left, but left and right of the spectrum. So it'd be like communist groups, environmentalist groups like green groups, animal rights groups, hunt saboteurs. Yeah, that's the video. Hunt saboteurs. So you can play it, actually. You can play it. It's quite a good video. Turn the volume up, man.
I love you. You know that. Hey, don't turn into Jedi on us with the YouTube videos, bro.
No, go on, play it, man. It's about.
I don't know, man. I'm spooked. It's
you ain't gonna get a copy. It's from Lush. Like they put it out there for people to see it, so it's cool. You're all right. You can play that, man. You ain't gonna get a copyright strike.
Yeah, you gonna, man. Don't give me a copyright.
We'll narrate as we go along. Press play. So you get the vibe, right? Woman sits down with the man she thinks is her husband. Camera pans around. He's a policeman, right? It's kind of like a dramatic little piece to illustrate. Yeah, to illustrate the scandal. So,
bro, I
haven't finished. One sec. As this infiltration happened over the course of about 30 years, typically what you saw was infiltration of groups by police, normally spanning for about 5 years, right? They'd have like 5-year period, and then they'd be like exit. They'd have like an exit story made. But during that 5 years, and people said, look at the like to dislike ratio. That's from police. The people who disliked that were police, right? Lush basically exposed it, because Lush are like a kind of ethical beauty shop. They're in with like the environmentalists and that sort of stuff. They were infiltrated. Their group was infiltrated. So they have like a kind of an interest in it. And yeah, they put it out, and Lush basically had this campaign against them by the police. Saying this guy's nuts. Go and fucking research the shit yourself, you idiot. You can't. One sec. This guy in the chat can't read it. Call me propaganda. All right, whatever. So basically, groups would be infiltrated, typically for 5 years, right? And then whoever was the infiltrator would move on to different groups. And in most cases, people were in like, let's say you're in like a lefty environmentalist group, you'd also be in like a communist group at the same time, or whatever. As this moved forward into the 90s, you saw groups such as the Stephen Lawrence Justice Campaign infiltrated. Like, why would you infiltrate? And this is essentially just like a group that formed around the family of Stephen Lawrence in the wake of, this is like a racist murder that took place in the UK, Bornwich. Formed around that group to basically press for justice, right? They had like 2 undercover police who were sent in to go and see what the deal was, whether or not these rowdy blacks were going to like start a riot or something, whatever it was, right? They infiltrated these groups. They also used tactics typically to maintain cover of partnering up. So if you like a spy cop, like a dude would infiltrate a group, he'd get a girlfriend within like maybe on the periphery of a particular movement. She might be friends with people who were like of interest to the police, and relationships would be formed. And in a couple of cases, there were kids. People had kids with these people they were spying on. And there was a big scandal. It emerged recently with like, there's about 5 women who had kids and had like long-term relationships and basically believed that they were raped by the state. But they wouldn't have like slept with these people had they known the capacity in which they were actually operating in their lives. It came out most famously with a guy called Mark Kennedy, who was exposed, I think, by activists. He was in like some environmental green group or whatever. And I think maybe they found like a passport in a different name or some shit. Called him out. He got called out anyway, and he ended up confessing and admitting to it all. And they put out his picture, and it basically led to like a wave of paranoia within different groups, far right, far left.
And that's how it happened.
And well, yeah, that's how it happened at that point. It's still happening. Yeah, Red Golden Child knows.
And we know that. And I honestly think that racism is still happening. in the
Right,
UK.
so yeah, okay, sure.
I know it.
But again,
we know it's.
But this is where you tune out a bit, Born Rich, because as you said, you don't really know what's going on in the UK with the politics and whatever else.
Exactly, and I don't.
So what I'm saying to you is, this stuff happens. That scandal. Groups are still being infiltrated. Let me ask you this: do you think BLM's infiltrated? Do you think BLM has been infiltrated in the States? We'll just talk about.
Do I think what's been infiltrated?
Black Lives Matter has been infiltrated.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about Black Lives Matter.
All right, man. James, do you think Black Lives Matter has been infiltrated?
It started.
I hear it has by Marxists. That's what everyone keeps saying, the Soros and all this shit.
Has it been infiltrated? Has it been infiltrated by the police?
In America, like we don't fuck with we don't even know what the fuck Marxist means, right?
Bro, you don't. Black people do, bro. You make it seem like you speak.
No, we don't, James. I want to speak for a lot of black people in America. We don't give a fuck about Marxists. We don't.
Bro, you're only speaking about people from Tennessee.
All right. So James, I guess you know about what people are saying in New York.
Yo, look at these
dogs. Bro, hold on. DC Brad's from America. He knows about Marxism.
Yes, but what does he know about Marxists? Does he
probably might know more than me?
He says
he at least knows who Karl Marx is, at least at the very least.
But that's cool though, James. But what does that matter in the long run? Like, think about it, James. In the long run, in the grand scheme of things,
it doesn't benefit. He knows that people like you that have a particular view about the liberation or amelioration of black people, he knows that Marxism isn't a good conduit.
Sorry. I've got to deal with this guy in the chat. Man says infiltrated, they're organized by the commies. Okay, you idiot. Let's assume that's the case. Who do you think is of interest? On the left, in this country, around the world, to the security services? Who? Which group? Historically, it's been communists, you fucking idiot. So any sniff of communism, they're going to be all over it. Make no mistake. Do you think Extinction Rebellion has been infiltrated, James?
I don't know about enough about it.
James, let me ask you this. Do you think there's a political group in the UK that's got any clout that hasn't been infiltrated? Can you name one?
Stop. The issue with what you're going to say is...
I'm asking you a question, bro.
Hold on.
We don't have to debate.
But 1 second, please. Yeah, I'm not reframing your question. I don't mind answering it. The issue I have is if I say, let's say, the ADF or something, like what's
the ADF?
What constitutes infiltration? Reason being,
what's the ADF, James?
ADL. Sorry, the ADL. I apologize. I said ADF. I meant ADL.
What's the ADL?
What does that mean?
The Jewish like lobbying / protection.
What's the
Anti-Defamation League? Sorry, the reason I asked this question though is because I'm saying, at what stage do we say, for instance, the relationship between, let's say, two cooperating forces? How do we adjudge one to be infiltrating the other? Like, if there's a connection between two groups, a larger and a smaller, does that mean every larger group is
I'm saying, is there a group
that
hasn't been infiltrated by either MI5 or by let's just deal with this, yeah? Do you think Muslim groups, let's talk about a Muslim group. Do you think there are any Muslim groups that are radical in the UK that haven't been infiltrated?
No.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to say the same thing is the case for any radical politic. Anything. Okay. It could be anything. It could be republicanism. It could be environmentalism. It could be communism. It can be whatever.
Yeah, but I believe the role of the government is to have involvement in every decision made.
So if that's the assumption, sure. So if that's the assumption, then you have to pay attention to the political movements, the new ones that start. So in the last 10 years, we've seen the rise of the EDL. What do you know about Tommy Robinson?
I know he's a drug dealer. He's a money launderer.
So do you think Tommy Robinson was given some sort of preferential agreement, given that he came out of prison to a think tank?
He's been given some treatment. Yeah, he's been given some preferential treatment. I don't know about agreement, but treatment definitely. Whether he
So hold on. So the case that he was on was a conspiracy case with another guy called Andrew Warman. Yeah, Andrew Warman got caught with 50 Ks of like pressing cutting agent or whatever, hydraulic press, free straps, whole heap of stuff. Conspiracy this, 18 years the guy got. Tommy Robinson was on the same case and ended up with a 4-year sentence or something for mortgage fraud.
But hey, we're moving away.
No, we're not. Yes, all right. So you know that. So no, we're not moving away from Ralph. We're not at all. We're not.
That's not what I'm saying, but we are getting away.
So he snitched. So Born Rich has clocked it already. Yeah, my man got a separate trial. Yeah, other guy got 18 years and maybe just got out of prison. Tommy Robinson gets 4 and comes out to this political career. He snitched. Same time, Mark Collette was caught up in some. This is the other guy, Born Rich, who runs the other group, Patriotic Alternative. Mark Collette was. You can go on Google this. Google Mark Collette murder coup Nick Griffin or something, right? You'll find it. Mark Collette was involved in a plot to murder Nick Griffin, supposedly, over the proceeds of sales from leaflets. They had this whole scam going on where they were printing up leaflets for their like little things like, I don't know, make Britain white again or whatever. They get like the leaflets printed at the middleman. The middleman's charging like 5 cents a sheet or whatever, and then they would bill the party like 40 cents per sheet. So there's this big markup to be made. They operated as this little weird middleman and whatever else. Nick Griffin and a couple of his inner circle. A guy came out and said basically what was going on and exposed Mark Collette, and there was this plot to kill Nick Griffin. Mark Collette got nicked in 2011, and somehow the case vanished, disappeared. Mark Collette went quiet for a number of years, was sort of chilling in the background, talking to these weird alt-right American types. And then he came back in 2018 and launched a political party, Patriotic Alternative. That was his big launch. Now, the way I see it is two of the most prominent figures on the far right or alt-right, whatever you want to say, both had occasions where they were essentially forced to comply with the police. And some sort of deals were cut, it would seem, right? Given the trajectory that they've been on. Now, you kind of need to have an understanding of the far right in this country, but there was a group called National Action, right? National Action was this group. Listen to what I'm listening to. Listen now. Hold on. Listen to bruv, no, it's not enough, bruv. You're getting your chunk. I'm trying to land. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to make a point. It's my final point. I'm hearing what you're saying. Listen,
you gotta chill, bro.
The audience is listening as well. Let me just make my point. National Action was a group in the UK, right, that boasted about the death of an MP.
But it's over. But
you're not listening. You're not listening.
All right,
forget it, man.
Care about that no more. Yeah, Dad. Yeah, I fuck with you, Dan, but fuck that, man. We don't care about that. Come on, man. You like for real, Dad? God damn.
But listen, you want to go and chat to agents? You go and chat to agents. Don't worry about me. You know, I don't need to go and chat to agents. And when you speak to these people,
man, you wilding, bro. You've been going for like 30 minutes, bro. You just wilding. You're
not making the case for why he's the agent.
Like, man, fuck them people, man. Dan, fuck.
Hold on. Hey, 1 second, Rich. Maybe I can say. Maybe I'm agreeing. You're agreeing with me. Maybe not. What I would say to everything you said is, I hear you. Some of what you said, I agree with you. But we're making the case for either A, Ralph is an agent, or B, he is a fucking old man.
Listen to what Mr. Ralph. Stop doing all of this nonsense, man. You sound like Lister right now. This is why I can't fuck with Lister.
Are you all right, bro? Lister's the exact opposite of me. He's the polar opposite of me.
Lister will never stick it on Ralph like this. Nah, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. I don't know, Jen wants to talk about how it doesn't affect you, Jen. Like a lot of things, like we're talking about the UK. One sec. I don't deal with Ralph. I deal with Ralph in a different way to how man deals. I don't deal with Ralph. Listen, let me carry on. 2018 was the same year. Listen, go and Google this. Anyone wants to go and Google this, go and Google this. 2018 was the same year that MI5 took over monitoring of the far right in the UK. And that was in the wake of one murder plot, one successful murder of a Labour MP, right? A left-wing MP in the UK, and another plot to kill a Labour MP. That was in 2018, they got sent down. And in 2018, Ralph turns up at the park. I'm not painting. I'm not going to paint too many more pictures, because the question you have to ask yourself, and this is the real conversation, yeah, is what is the goal of someone like Ralph on these panels? If that is the case, assuming what I'm saying is the case, is he just there to monitor the far right? Is he just there to monitor the far right?
What's the goal of anybody on these fucking panels, Dan?
You know what I mean, bro?
Like,
Listen,
come on.
as I've already said, don't do this.
It's so many police. I ain't gonna lie. I think the whole of UK is the police.
Fuck you.
If I'm honest, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all ain't doing shit. Y'all are trying to infiltrate my life right now to call the MI5 on me to you know what I'm saying? Y'all trying to connect me to international drug dealing and some more shit, man. I don't know what.
Hold on.
Listen, all I'm going to say is,
Jimmy,
listen.
My brother Jimmy always say suspect things. He says shit. Trying to
Born Rich. Come on, man. Bro, you're mocking it now. You're mocking it. I don't jump on your panel often, so just let me cut through while I'm on here, innit?
Yeah, but it sounds weird.
It can sound weird, but it's the truth. So it's the truth. I'm telling you the facts about the UK, and you can listen if you want to listen. If you don't want to listen, then cool, do the drinking thing or whatever else. But while I'm drinking, other people are actually like planning things. And as I said to you,
but we're not.
As I said to you, you just listen. What you just said. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, bruv. What you just said, how does it affect us? You haven't got any you haven't got the politics. You haven't got the cohesive politics that you're jumping on the panel to benefit from. You might promote Born Rich films or whatever. You might get a couple.
But neither does this guy though. Neither does Ralph, because he changes he's fair weather. He changes with the wind, bro. One day he supports this. One day he supports that. Like, can you not see it's a fucking desperate grab for attention? Can you not see that? Or like, is that not even a possible fucking?
But why do y'all pay him attention? But why do the honor of paying him attention? Just leave him alone. Like, come on.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say to Dan. Yeah, I've been saying this for God knows how long. That if nothing definitively proves to me that this, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fucking. I changed my mind as well, right? Like, if someone provided me with some evidence that was just clinching a smoking gun, if you like, yeah. Why wouldn't I believe it? I'm fucking not fucking indebted to this guy, brother. Well, he doesn't have anything over me, like you alluded to earlier. But there ain't.
I think he does. But the way you're moving, listen, I'm going to say this. Your tune has changed in about a year and a half. A year and a half ago, I swear down, you said the exact same thing. This guy's an agent. 100%.
I said what? I said that he was an agent. I'm gonna ask you. You can be honest, bro.
You just said it.
What y'all said? Who's an agent?
I think Ralph. I think he's saying I said Ralph was an agent. If I'm honest, the two arguments I remember having with you, like over these like little characters.
These two arguments, bro. This is your own realization.
No, I'm saying the two arguments I had with you were over James SC and Ralph, like basically me being.
I'm not talking about the panel. I'm not talking about the panel business. I'm talking about you offline in some. Now you're on this like show, but I don't know. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate for being devil's advocate, bro. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not. You've just said yourself. All right. Let me ask you this: Who are the agents within the Muslim community at Speaker's Corner? Who are the agents?
You know what? Because I got beef with him right now. I want to say.
Ask the question.
I don't know if I believe. I'll say Jordan M.
Cool.
I'll say Jordan M. I'll say Jordan M. But it's probably more bad.
Lay out your smoking gun.
What for? I'll be an arsehole. I don't know if he's an agent. I just like to say it.
Lay out the reasons why the Muslim community at Speaker's Corner would be of interest to the security services. Lay them out. What have
because they can use them for like false flag shit.
What happened to the guy? What happened to the guy who got shot in Streatham? Remember?
The guy that stabbed someone. The other one that stabbed someone.
Tried to stab someone, got shot by the police on Streatham High.
Yeah.
What was he involved with? What was he involved with before that?
Speaker's Corner.
Yeah. And who was he going to Speaker's Corner to go and who was he plotting to go and do something to at Speaker's Corner?
I don't know. I never heard that.
Tan.
I don't know. Oh yeah, I did hear that. Sorry, I did. Yeah. And Tan is another one.
Who's affiliated? 1 second. Who's affiliated with ISIS or Al Muhajiroon at Speaker's Corner?
The little black guy.
Right. So there's people, right? So are you okay? So are you? Which groups in the UK do you think on the far right would be of interest in security services? Which groups?
In the far right.
Yeah. And big up Red Golden Child because he knows. Yes, the police are all over these live streams.
Yeah, but that's a bad
No, I'm asking you a question. Which groups on the far right are
Red Golden Child's unhinged, bro. He's a lunatic.
Bro, listen, I'm asking you a question. Which groups?
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. Answer the question, James.
Hey, Dan, tell the people to hit the like button, Dan.
Yo, hit the like, people. Hit the like.
That's a whack cosign.
Answer the question.
Come on, man, Dan, for real, Dan.
Hit the like, people. Hit the like. If you don't like what I'm saying,
tell the
like
people
button.
to
If
hit
you
the
like
like
what I'm
button.
saying, hit the like button. It's all good. Either way.
Go on. Yeah. Hey,
which groups on the far right would be of interest to the security services? Which groups?
Combat 18. Are they still around? Am I making that up?
No, they never got prescribed.
It's 14. Accelerate 14.
So
nah,
just get there. EDL.
Oh yeah, EDL.
PA. Right. So PA is of interest. Right. So who infiltrated PA?
Are you gonna say Ralph?
Yeah, right. The Indian guy.
Charlie's group. National Action is of interest. I've told Zabidi this as well. I've said, listen, you had the guy on your panel. You might as well have had ISIS. It'd be better off if you had some guy live from Raqqa jump on your panel.
But I've heard that guy, that the Liverpudlian guy, innit?
Scouts
guy, yeah. Well, same difference. A tramp, if you will. a tramp. If you will. No, but that guy, he's another chat shit merchant, bro. You see them guys. All of them are the same, bro. Delusions of grandeur. They'll tell you about their they'll tell you about how great they are. If you was bad, hold on. If you was anything, if you was even a fucking 0.1 of the gangster shit you're talking, you would be fucking disowned by your fucking cohorts for chatting shit on some fat fucking Arabs channel, bro. Get out of here, man. There's no. Cause what do you mean? Cause why? Because it's fucking illegal. And if what? So okay, sorry.
What's illegal? What's illegal?
Hold on.
What's illegal?
Hold on. 1 second. Is your argument that he's also receiving preferential treatment?
No. My argument is that he's of interest to the security services. So any stream that he goes on will be of interest to security services.
Why is he
One sec. Who brought Charlie Big Potatoes to the streams? Who?
It's not Ralph, is it? Because I swear they got beef.
Yes. Ralph bought.
So why they got beef? Or is that artificial?
Hold on, you know more than me. I don't know about no beef. What beef?
I know Ralph chat shit about him 24/7 about how he's not nothing, that he's scared, that he's a coward, that he doesn't fight for his country.
Who folded the PA audience into the Muslim audience? Ralph.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Right. So you just conceded that National Action is of interest, Patriotic Alternative, EDL in some sort of.
You did say that, but I don't mind agreeing with you. But I didn't say it.
You did say PA. You did say PA.
Oh, PA. I said you just said National Action just now.
Yeah, I said National Action because that's.
Yeah. No, so you just said you conceded national.
Let's look at it like this. Do you think there's any groups that are on the prescribed terrorist list that aren't of interest to the security services?
No, because that's why they're on the list. That's a tautology.
Exactly. Right. So it goes without saying that National Action would be of interest. So I say that just to say it, right?
I wasn't pushing back on that. Yeah, I get it.
So basically the full spectrum of the far right. I'd say anything further right than UKIP, but even UKIP is probably of interest to the security services, probably before Brexit as well. Because
the argument is any organized political group is of interest to the security service, right? That is also goes without saying.
That's what I asked you that before. So as I said, normal people, individuals aren't really of interest. Individuals aren't. People who belong to groups are. The people who belong to groups have been jumping on these panels. As I said, if you haven't got a cohesive body politic to represent, then you're food on these panels.
I ain't food.
Yeah, you are. You haven't really. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you are. You are essentially. You're not making any hay from these panels, from these interactions. Same thing about Ralph. Ralph has been bounced from pillar to post by different people. He's been hotted up by one, the other.
But what type of hay is Ralph making? Like you say, he's not making no hay.
Political hay.
James Jones is not really making no hay.
Political hay. Political hay. He's making. He's benefiting. He's reaping the political kind of rewards.
Oh, why? But how though? Like how though?
Because
man?
what do you mean how? Using the using data, and whatever else he fucking talks about. Using the data to better inform the politicians.
Well, he's just robbing. I heard. Bro, let's do some gossip, guys. Yeah, it's late. It's early. Whatever. I heard. Yeah, Rob. No, I know you're gonna get, but listen, I heard, and this I have a bit of respect.
Oh, wait, 1 sec. A big up, Red Golden Child. The live streams are groups in themselves. Exactly that. But
hold on 1 second. Like I said, hey, bro, done. A bit of advice if you don't know the guy. Worst cosign in history. But seriously, now, what I'm saying is I heard Ralph was collecting data, was collecting information about black racism towards white people, and received investments to the tune of I think £13,000 to £25,000 from people and never delivered the product. That's what I heard, and I'm not sure.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
But that doesn't
and he also folded his little company that never really did anything.
Well, the man's a con artist. That's the con artist, bro. He's a short
fucking trapping. Fuck a you can call him a con artist. You can call him a
that's simping.
Scammer.
Let me deal with the comment that's just coming.
You heard the same thing,
man. Hold on, Dan. No, we chilling. We not addressing comments. James,
that's a good comment.
Mad because he came up. He hustled. What you talking about? He came up. They gave him the money, and he balled out. And he didn't pay him back. Fuck it.
Fuck
that shit, James, man. He balled out, man.
No, if you believe that narrative, that actually happened, if you believe that shit, then you can't really see him as this political conspirator because
he just hustler.
And actually, he's using all of this leverage to get money from these suckers, bro. That's it. That's what I'm not saying
out loud, James. Can I say this out loud? Now, maybe y'all know something, and Dan, maybe you know something I don't know. But me, right? A young, and I ain't gonna say a black man in America, the way I look at Ralph, he's an Asian man who has a lot of white supremacist talking points. And he wants to be a white man. That's how I look at it.
It's not it. That's not it.
Like, am I lying?
No, that's not it. You're wide.
No, that's it. That's it. What he is, though.
You're kind of wide. No, you're kind of wide. Look, that was the original. That was the first banter I had with Ralph. That's way back. That's 2 years ago.
Is he lying?
It's not. Let me carry on. So people are saying about YouTube panels with 200 people. It's not about the 200 people. It's about the people who are connected to those 200 people. Let's just look at it like this. That little Bilal do you think the people in his phone book are of interest to the security services? Let's say he's got 80 people in his phone book.
So hold on, wait. Then is Zabida an agent then? Because she knows all the people. She capes for all the people. She links up with the far right people. I'm not sure, brother. I'm not even like on some trying to.
Bro, can we just answer the first question?
Wait, please.
I'm trying to get through this before you answer.
Hold on, wait.
I'm asking you a straight question.
Real quick. I beg you not.
Listen.
Wait. What's
I'm gonna forget my point, bro. I've got a second point. You can just pin it.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Are the people in Suleiman's phone book of interest?
So who's Suleiman?
Bilal.
I say no.
Them man at the park. You don't think so?
No.
You think a guy who's got affiliations to Anjem Chowdhury's group?
Well, Dan,
1 second.
Dan,
listen, Born Rich. I beg you, man. I can't take drinkers for this reason, man. I beg you, just
it's not even about drinking.
I hear what you're saying.
Hey, Dan,
things are going through. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen,
Dan, you gotta
I'm gonna ask the
relax,
question.
Yes, it ain't even about drinkers. It's about no one's even going to pay real attention to solid.
Someone's just answered. Someone's answered the question. So yes,
going to speakers.
Listen, bruv, who's ISIS Bob, Born Rich? I bet you don't even know about him.
ISIS Bob, I see him. He was on Prospect's channel.
Right.
Is he not in jail? Is he not in jail?
Okay, so ISIS. So let's just imagine this community, right? The whole Speakers Corner community. There's a number of people who've been linked to ISIS. There's a number of people who've been linked to National Action. There's a number of people who've been linked to these groups. Yeah, they exist. So it's not just the people. Listen to what, bruv. Listen to what I'm. Wow, bruv. Listen, I don't fucking know. Go and ask Suleiman. Bruv, they're fucking of interest for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it don't matter though, Dan. Who gives a fuck if they're of interest, bro? They don't. They haven't done shit,
bruv. This is what I'm saying.
They don't do shit, man.
All right, then don't fucking, bruv. Go and work. Go on.
I'm
not, bruv. You're wilding. I don't know about wilding. Listen, I'm making.
I don't want to talk about that, bro.
Bruv, come off it, man. Just cool out for a second. So yes, those people in his phone book would be of interest. It's not just the immediate people on the panels. It's the extended networks of people that they're in contact with. Their social networks, essentially. So when you factor in people have like 100 people in their phone book, there's like that number becomes like 20,000 all of a sudden from the Speaker's Corner scene. If Ralph is saying that he's got 8,000 profiles from just within the far right or whatever, it should give you some indication of what I'm dealing with.
Wow.
Right? 8,000, and he said that himself.
I don't know, Dan.
You don't need, bruv. You wouldn't know because you're drunk, and I can't do this drunk business. Man. Listen to what I'm saying.
I would say not drunk. I would say I'm from America, though. Like,
yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying
it's wild that you put this much interest and this much emphasis on this Speaker's Corner shit, bro.
Bruv, it's way more fucking. It's way more important than.
Have you ever been to Speaker's Corner? Have you ever been there?
Way more. Listen, it's way more important than a lot of people give it credit for. That's what I'm gonna say.
But Dan, you've never been there, Dan.
Bruv, listen. What are you talking about? What are you talking? I've been enough times. Don't talk about what you don't know, bro. You don't know.
Hold on.
Where's Hyde Park? What's the road?
Look, hold on 1 second. 1 second, guys.
You don't even know the ends, bro. What are you talking about?
1 second. 1 second now, quickly, man, because it's taking time, yeah. Bro, like I said, yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, that was it. But Zabida's cool with Ralph. Zabida's cool with Charlie Big Potatoes. Zabida's cool with Suleiman. She defends them, man. Zabida's cool with ISIS Bob. Zabida's cool with all the other Muslims. Zabida's debating that Jewish guy the other day. Zabida's going to all of the rallies and all of that. How is she not an agent? If we're going, if I want to use your metric, yeah, and your criteria for agent, she's the biggest agent of them all. How the fuck are we not calling her an agent? And she's got a fucking refugee husband because she goes to
until this conversation, you've never called out a single agent. So before you run to your little conclusion with Zabida, let's just
because you brought up that guy. Hold on, you brought up that guy in her panel. There's a one bag of guys. I swear to God, there's one that just come on the other day and went. And we were like, "Oh, you're right, mate." It was his name, Savage something. We were like, "Oh, you're right, mate." And he was like, "Oh yeah." I found out about these live streams from Zabida. Got to talking. 2 minutes in, he's talking about African slavery in Libya, yada yada yada. And I was like, "Oh, you're one of these now, yeah?" And he said he found the streams through Zabida. Someone told me, I won't reveal my sources, that the reason Zabida's channel popping. This is when it was popping back then. You know, she had more views, like she was boycotting Dula. That she's on Telegram with all these FNATs and she's all begging them to jump on her show, yada yada yada. So like, if we actually look at and remember, she's cool with Ralph as well. This is another thing because he's your biggest like link into the game. Then you're saying Ralph brings the guy, the National Action guy, but she's best friends with him. People always, when they come on our show, they talk about, or it's Veli show even, not my show. They always talk about
you're gonna have to go and talk to Jen about that. I don't know. Jen's moving with Zabida. You go and chat to Jen.
No, but I don't think so. No, wait, stop. I don't think Zabida's an agent. I think he's an idiot. I think he's an idiot. I'm saying to you though. But do you though? Do you?
No, doesn't mean you're saying what my metric is.
No. This is a double standard. This is hypocrisy because you're asking us all these questions and then shocking us with all the facts.
I've literally
I'm saying Zabida's their brethren. Zabida's cohorts with them. So is she an agent?
I'm saying that's your assessment. And you just said yourself.
Your opinion on it. What's your opinion?
So I'm saying no. In my opinion, no.
She's not an agent.
No, didn't even factor. So
have I not made a compelling argument for why she may be?
No.
Okay, so every single group that you say has had affiliation or has been infiltrated, she has closer proximity than you do to every single one of them that you mentioned. And you don't think that implicates her in any way?
No, I think that makes her of interest, which is what I said earlier. If she has National Action on the panel, she might as well have ISIS, and it's going to mean the same scrutiny. Yes, the same
But
scrutiny.
how do you? But hold on. But how do you know that she's not cognizant of this?
Let me ask you this. Are you who's been jumping on Veddies and what's their background?
I don't know. Like, explain.
You didn't know Jordan Gold's background. You didn't know that.
No, by the way, sorry, can I say that? One sec. That was a brilliant reveal on Jedi's.
It doesn't matter about that. It doesn't. Yeah, you don't do your due diligence. That's on you.
Take your flowers, bro.
That's on you. And it's like you can't spot agents when they're around. I don't know how you man operate. Well, anyway, whatever, man. You man not clock undies anyway. So you think Jordan M's an agent, and your criteria is similar to mine, right? You're going to say he's around groups that are of interest to security services. He's a white guy. He has a beard. He's on the periphery and all this, right? Cool, right? You can lay out your argument if you want. Hot up Jordan M. Go and stick it on Jordan M. Anytime you see him and question him about whether.
I don't think he's an agent. I'm only mucking about.
I'm saying you go and ask him. If you think that, you go and ask him.
No, I don't. I think he's another one. I just think he's another narcissist. Like he's another self-indulgent. That's what.
So tell me who you think is an agent within the Muslim camps.
I don't know, bro. To be honest, I don't think that in those terms.
You don't.
To be honest, is it saying? Can I ask you? Just so you don't think I'm being disingenuous. Like, do you believe I'm being intentionally evasive, or do you honestly believe I don't think about these things? I just want to know what your opinion is.
Yeah, you've had the opportunity to in this conversation, and I don't think you are. Jem, what it says, Mohammed Hijab.
I don't think hijab's an agent.
Who do you think is? Man said Salahuddin. What do you think about that guy, the Norwegian guy, Morten Heyer?
I don't know who the fuck that is.
You don't know who Morten Heyer is? He's the guy who was donating to Raj.
Yeah.
He was watching Raj's channel, then he converted to Islam. Now he's
putting
black flags in the chat.
I don't know who the fuck that is, bro. I don't know who that is.
Okay, so Mr. Alio, you said Salahuddin. Okay, so
Salahuddin. Oh, sorry.
Look, put it this way. Salahuddin is the Jordan M who's around the extreme type.
Yeah. But you know what though, my brother, yeah. Let me say one thing quickly.
No. I'm just asking you a quick question.
I don't think Raspec's an agent either, even though that Cone guy made a whole video.
But we're saying we can get into Coin and all of that. That's no problem. I'm asking you, who do you think is an agent?
I don't fucking know, bro. I don't know, bro. Think I'm lying? I don't know. If you tell me, if you tell me something and it makes sense to me and it's rational and it's consistent, I would have fucking agree with you. But I don't think
it's not about me. It's about you working out for yourself who you think is dodgy and who you think is suspect.
What is this nigga doing? What are you doing?
Man said Guy Live Media.
Who's that?
So you've had Hijab, Guy Live Media, Salahuddin.
Hey, what Gold? You finally responded to me. Well, I'm the agent. Yeah, if you say so. You're Red Gold.
Bruv, from what I'm hearing, you got some booky background, bruv. I remember, I'm not your whole story, your whole.
I'll tell you what you should do. Yeah, I'll tell you what you should do. Like, if
that's a spooky one. I'm gonna say that's
look, hold on. If you're reluctant or hesitant to say it, yeah, hold on. Start with the source and then go from there and then detail it. So start with the source, who said what, and then say exactly what they said. That's the best way to do it. And then who knows? It might be right.
I don't know who anonymous chats. I don't know who these people are in the chat.
All right, go on. You know what? Fuck it. I don't even mind. We'll forego that. Tell the story. What's the story? I want to hear it. The last one I heard.
Were you related to someone who had diplomatic immunity?
I think I am related to someone who's got diplomatic immunity. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. No, that's it.
By marriage though, not by a thing. I'm not sure though. Sorry, I just be honest. I'm not 100%. I think they do though.
Has that person met the Queen?
Oh, so you mean like way back when?
I don't know.
I'm related to important people like
so you're related to people with diplomatic immunity who've met the Queen.
But like, so I shouldn't even go into detail, but not like close proximity. Not that I myself am in any kind of favorable position within this. You know what already, Dad? Like,
I don't know. I know very little about
I'm saying, you know that I haven't got no preferential treatment in this country. I'm the opposite of that. I've got the opposite treatment. You know what
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows?
You know what, my bro, listen to this. I hear you, and I appreciate the fact that you're super objective.
How are we onto this? How do we get onto this topic?
But then you're being disingenuous when you say you don't know about Zabida then. Because I've not given you any cause for concern like she has, but you'll just back it because that's your brethren. I'm assuming it's your brethren, I don't know. But you won't, but you'll assume me I'm guilty when, if anything, when man know the stats, you know that it can't really be the case for me.
So I don't know, but you just said yourself, you're sticking it on Zabida, you don't think she's an agent. So why are you mentioning
I don't think she's an agent. No, but I'm saying I'm trying to hold, it's an internal critique of your position.
It's an internal you don't know what my position is. You're saying you're using my metric. You don't know what my metric is. No, but my metric, you would need to know. You'd need to have some sort of basis, right, in knowing the background of groups that have been infiltrated, some sort of understanding of that in order to know what my metric is.
Why is it always white people, board? Why you always put white people on your video? You're a racist, bro.
That's all, bro. Look, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, you would be someone who I would say would be well placed. I don't think they'd say no.
But I've been telling Ralph from day, bro. How much are you gonna offer me? He always all of these fucking superlatives and compliments and that. I'm like, bro, I'm susceptible to all of this. How much are you gonna pay?
With your background, you'd also be quite likely to. With your background, you've mentioned money before I even got there. You'd be offered.
Yeah, I've asked Ralph on the live. I said, listen, if you want to further your political agenda and you're not a joke, fucking pay me and I'll help you out, bro. I'll be your Negro face. But I've yet to have been offered a penny. So fuck them, all of them. Jordan all the time coming on and saying, "Oh, bro, you're so intelligent. I love debating." Yeah, but what's up? Where's the money from?
Man is saying I got a David Cameron link. Listen, David Cameron.
Oh yeah.
One sec. When I was a youth, there's no David Cameron link. I don't know what you're talking about. Bunch of fucking people come in the restaurant over the years, hundreds of thousands of people. My family run a successful business and have done since 1979. So talk about fucking coming from the man who's got. I got a fucking David Cameron link, you madman. Anyway, one sec. Getting back to this.
Oh,
yeah. Do you think that you would be unemployable by the state?
By who? By like the security services and that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I assume I could probably serve some purpose.
You would. You're definitely from the right kind of background. But I digress, right? My man, I don't know how we even got into that. I think my man was saying that you're an agent or whatever. I don't know about all of that.
Oh, but wait a second. Let's make a good point.
I'm just going to say you're kind of reluctance. Your reluctance to name anyone who could be is interesting.
But gee, I'm a fucking atheist in that. Like, you know the deal with me.
What does that mean?
I try to be hyper rational. Like, I pride myself on my utilization of rationality.
Yes, as a rationality will show you.
As a primary paradigm. So if you're saying now, like for instance, I'll give you the best example ever.
Are you saying that?
Let me finish, please. Yeah. When someone says, Dan has a link to David Cameron, which is vague in itself, right? It's a vacuous statement. A link, what does that mean? Cool. They say he's got a link to David Cameron. Therefore, the man is an agent. He also espouses Antifa, leftist, egalitarian rhetoric. Therefore, he is a thing. They'll give me 5 other examples of why you're hope, not hate. And you know this from history. People have said you're hope, not hate. What was my position then? It was, I don't have any evidence to suggest.
Well, interesting that you mentioned that. So do you know? Interesting that you mentioned that. So the person who said that was Ralph. Do you know what hope, not hate is? You know, they're basically like state anti-fascist.
Lefty thing.
It's a state anti-fascist group that has overlaps with the security services, and it's essentially kind of like a mouthpiece for them. They also were able to run an agent within a prescribed terrorist group after the group was prescribed, which raises big questions within people in the far right. They're like, how was it that this charity is able to run agents within groups? Hype Not Hate is a spooky organization as well.
Bro, you're doing this thing where you run away with.
I'm not doing anything.
The point I'm making is it's a level of consistency that I'm displaying. When Raspect's got a whole video detailing how this nigga's an agent, I don't believe he's an agent. You don't believe he's an agent.
Yeah, but you're saying who you don't. You're saying, yeah, but this is what I'm saying. I'm saying you're reluctant.
He's an old agent, brother. That's rich.
One sec. What I'm saying is your reluctance to call out agents, and it could be because you don't have much of a background or an understanding of how the kind of state works within political.
Yeah, I can concede that though. I can concede that.
Right?
No problem.
One thing of what I'm saying,
though, James. Why won't you show your face though, James? Show your face, man. This is the
because I'm an agent. Nigga. Fuck you gonna do?
Why would you want to be an agent though? That's right. That's how you want to be.
No, bro. Do you know that? I don't forget that. Yeah, forget this too. I don't.
If Ralph offered you, If Ralph offered you the job, would you take it?
Bro, the other day, Ralph. This is fact. Look, so I'm not hiding shit. The other day, I was talking to Veli. This must have been what, December? Because I remember when the Yeezys came out. I was talking to Veli about some trainers that came out. I missed the Kobe's that I needed. I said to Ralph, I said, yo, I know your wife works at Adidas. He mentioned it. His wife worked at Nike or something as well. She knows someone. I said, yo, get me a bunch of trainers. I'll show some of your ideas for you, bro. I said, I'll give you a list. If you can get me everything on that list for retail price, nigga, I'll fucking show whatever bullshit ideas you want me to show. I don't care, bro. You think I'm not married to none of this shit? Fuck everybody that's got a problem with any, like, I don't care. You know me. I don't give a shit.
Talk that shit, Jimmy.
I don't give a motherfuck about anyone's political anything. I don't care. I care about myself.
Shit, Jimmy.
I care about myself. I don't care about no one else.
So you would accept an offer with the security services
if they paid me good. Yeah, why not? If they paid me well, no. What do you mean? Of course, if they pay me well enough, bro.
Born rich, would you?
I'm a mercenary out here, bro.
What?
Would you become like? Would you join the FBI or the CIA? Would you become an agent?
No. For what?
Innit?
Shit, if they pay me the money I wanted, cool, bro. Listen, I'm a civilian. I don't play no games. I don't pretend I'm anything I'm not. I'm a civilian right now. So
they pay me
the kind of money I wanted.
All right, James, let's play this, man. Enjoy the show, James.
Go on.
Yeah, enjoy the show, man.
What's this? Logan Paul.
Damn,
yo, why you watching YouTube? You're watching Logan Paul, Nah, but like I said,
boy, these kids are some circus clowns.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. You hold the views you hold. You need to be persistent, bro.
Bro, I hope you use that immunity, man. I hope you make use of that immunity.
Immunity what? I wish I had immunity, bro. If I had immunity, I'd be fucking, you know what I'm saying? But differently, yeah. No, you should just be consistent, man. Like I said, yeah. Listen, like I said,
as I said, you're consistent. Your demand for consistency. Your demand for consistency requires an understanding of the metrics that I'm using to come to the decisions that I'm coming to. You're
not really. Then you must not be being clear.
You're not in possession of those. As I said,
I'll fuck you up right now. Look,
if you want to go and look up, Spy Cops, you can go and
quickly. I beg you, quickly. Jupiter come on the panel the other day. Jupiter said that Zubido got her nicked. Come drag out of her house, got her nicked for racialized some shit. I don't know what the thing is, right? She said she even showed me some shit about the feds I didn't know. She said that nowadays you can get you don't even need to get bail to leave a police station without a charge. You don't even need to get bail or a charge. Apparently you get let off and what's his name confirmed it in the chat. So she got arrested. And basically, for the equivalent is just getting bailed, right? She got bailed from the police station pending further inquiries. She made a counterclaim, a counter allegation that the person who said that to her, by the way, apparently is with no evidence, that she made the same case about the other person who said it, Zubida, right? that she did some other shit. I can't remember what she said. She gave another good case and had evidence, and Wendy and all her brethren backed her. She said that the feds did not nick the other one, and that the other one wasn't streaming.
Who's the other one? Who's the other one?
So she's saying that feds didn't nick Zabida. She's saying feds didn't nick Zabida because but Zabida wasn't allowed to go live. Blood Zabida went live a week after that, bro, on some what's up thing, bro. So if you're doing up this big immunity, yada yada yada, or whatever your case is, well, now it looks like your girl's got immunity. But I bet you're not gonna countenance that because it doesn't really fit your narrative of big bad Asian brothers or whatever it is. But your girl's out here.
You haven't accepted. One second. You haven't accepted. I don't know. It's your girl business. You haven't accepted the basic.
That's your religion, though.
The basic points that I made about Ralph and Ralph's immunity. So you've just said what? Ralph's a scammer. Ralph can scam 30 grand. Ralph can display the logo of prescribed terrorist groups. Ralph can threaten people with prescribed terrorist groups, and nothing happens. I guarantee you, if little Suleiman did something, and because maybe he's an agent, maybe he's not, something would happen.
But how do you know Ralph ain't been nicked though? How do you know that?
What do you mean? Is Ralph? Where's Ralph ever gone? Where's Ralph ever gone?
How do you know he ain't never been nicked? Where's Zabida ever gone, Ralph? Where's Zabida? Where's Respect ever gone?
What are they getting nicked for? What have they done?
People making allegations.
What have they done? What have they done? Yeah, but sure,
consorting with these people, consorting with these ISIS bobs. Bob Zabida used to be deep in their team. I've been on fucking hangouts with her. How come Samaya never got nicked? How come Samaya never got nicked saying they're her brothers and all of that? How come she never gets nicked for that?
Which brothers? What are you talking about?
Bro, when your stream got man were beheading people on your thing, so and then we was all on your stream and we were saying to Samaya, condemn them niggas. She was like, "That's them are my brothers. Are you dumb? Them are Muslim brothers."
Damn, Dad. People was getting beheaded.
How come you never got nicked, fam?
What type of stream did you have, Dad? People was beheaded.
I'm saying, bro. Listen, this thing goes.
I was conscious.
I'm just engaged. I'm engaging.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you're getting defensive because, as I said, you're welcome to make any allegations that you want. Holding me up to a standard. But it's not fuck Ralph because you take a job from Ralph and you just said that.
Yeah, I'll take a job from you if you're paying well enough.
It's not the same thing. If it's fuck someone,
you got some money from me.
If it's fuck someone, if it's fuck someone, you don't. That's what I'm saying. So your point about Zabida, you're saying what? Zabida was of interest because what?
I'm saying, but based on your metric, I'm saying she should be. Like, so she's got.
Someone in the chat is saying Ralph has got. One sec. Someone's saying that Ralph got a visit.
SO15 apparently.
Just again, just fill in the blanks. If you're saying that Zabida was of interest because of associations to ISIS, Bob.
No, I'm saying no.
She should have gone.
Immunity. She's got immunity.
Again, you're running.
ISIS members. Okay.
Who's ISIS?
You're asking. I'm telling you.
Consorts with who?
Right, you ready? Cool. The person that you said Ralph is boomy for bringing onto her stream. She has private interactions with the National Action fella, the Scouts, yeah. All of these fucking extremists, from Bob to all of the beheading video guys to now the Suleiman and then people there. She covers for these people. As I've said to you,
that would make her of interest.
Right, and then I'm about to go next. I'm about to go again. Then she's received what must be perceived as immunity as per your previous understanding, right? Which is she's been something that was an arrestable offense has not been, if you like, reciprocated where it concerns her. So she made a claim someone got nicked. They made an equal claim and actually an evidence claim, and she doesn't get nicked. All right, so that at the very least, that's a tenuous sort of example of immunity.
So wait, so how do you know that there was not evidence presented? You got some mad like in. Where's this insight coming from? Is this from Jubilee?
What's the police interview though? What's the police interview for? What did they do that for? The woman got interviewed, didn't it? She got nicked, bruv. She got nicked and got fucking NFA'd. So what do you think happened? She got nicked. When she went into the interview, she said they said.
Yeah, but hold on. Was she charged with ISIS?
You're saying she wasn't charged. She got.
Okay, so what was the complaint? Was the complaint that she had links to ISIS or something? Is that what it was?
The counterclaim, you mean?
No, I'm saying what was Zabida nicked for?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The counterclaim. So what Jupiter's claim? I couldn't tell you. I don't even know what Jupiter. I don't know what Jupiter got nicked for.
So yeah, well that's the point. So
yeah, they got nicked for. They're fucking women, bro. They're just chatting shit, arguing with each other. I don't know. The point I'm making is.
Hold on. If you say chatting, the way you just said it, are you surprised it got NFA?
All right, 2x. All right, let's go for the 2.
One sec. No. Do you think Banksy's gonna get the NFA?
Exactly. Isn't that going through? No, exactly. Look.
No. Hold on. Isn't that going? One sec. Isn't that going through? Isn't that going through?
She never got nicked though for that.
What do you mean? She's had to go and report to the police. What are you talking about?
She never got nicked, bruv. She didn't get taken to a station, bruv. She went home. No problem.
Neither did Black Tat guy. Neither did a lot of people in the park.
Yeah, Wallahi is finished. Wallahi, she's finished. She's an agent. That's it. All right, now I believe.
Bruv, listen, you can call out. As I said, you can call out whoever you want.
She's my agent. Do you agree with me?
What, bruv? I've already said. If anything, she's of interest. None of the things.
But do you agree that she's an agent? No, yeah. You're saying no, yeah.
Agent how? When did she get recruited?
I'm giving you all the evidence. She's an agent, bro.
Yeah,
She's an agent.
Like. At the moment.
No, I'm not. How?
That's you.
Bro.
That's you. So 1 minute ago, it's not.
Cool. Not. So now we're just saving our friends.
So out of all of the people that you've mentioned, so you said Respect as well. What would Respect be getting nicked for? You're saying Respect
because he was wearing red shoes. I don't remember the video, but there was like lots of reasons. He had a handler. Something. He had red shoes. Something. I don't know.
Who has been nicked? Who has been nicked and has been prosecuted
for being an agent?
No. What are you talking about? Who's been nicked and been prosecuted? Who?
Who's been scored?
Yeah.
There's that guy, the Asian one, Raj was chasing.
So you're going to rule off a bunch of names now. So people do get nicked at Speaker's Corner. Who?
Yeah, not Zabida though. Not Zabida. Not for beating people up. She don't get nicked.
Bruv, we've just. That's going.
Yeah, bro. You don't like it when it's your friend. You don't like it when it's your friend.
Bruv, you're chatting a lot, man. This is the original point. You know full well what I'm talking about. When I say Ralph's got something, I don't know what it is. Ralph's got something on you. Yeah, he has. And the way you're talking about, you would take the job or whatever. But I think you already know what you're dealing with. I think you're just playing it back. And you're just seeing what falls in your lap. That's the way I like
Ralph more than I like Zabida. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, how have we even got to mentioning Zabida now? This is the thing. We start talking about Ralph.
No, but because I'm not defending her. I don't believe she's an agent. Yeah, I'm only messing around. I don't believe he's
okay. So let's deal with the people. I know
no, but what I'm saying is,
I know you don't, and that seems interesting. I know you don't. So I've already reeled it off. So who is allowed to display logos of prescribed terrorist groups in this country? No one. Who is allowed to scam people and fold their company without Jordan? Stop defending. Stop defending.
Jordan kid. No, that Jordan kid is.
Stop defending Ralph. Wait,
hold on. What about all these ISIS kids? What about all these ISIS kids?
Which ISIS kids?
The ones that do you remember when they used to come on your show and they used to have the black and people used to go, oh, that's the ISIS flag. Then there was the other kid that used to have the ISIS flag and he used to have it on the black horse and he was from Spain. You remember that kid? He was from Spain and he had the ISIS flag on a black horse, bro. I remember that distinctly because people were like to him, yo, you know what that is? But to me, sorry. They're like, you know what that is? Woo, woo, woo. So yeah, there's bare people that do that, bro. Don't try it. There's bare people that have the Islamic ISIS flag. The whatever that sign, the Arabic writing on the black flag.
You think you can legally display that?
Look what Jenny just wrote in the chat. NASA had it as well. The ISIS flag.
That's a different flag. The Islamic State flag is.
Oh, the Spanish kid I'm talking about, and I know you know who I'm talking about because he was on your show. The Spanish kid and he was a Spanish Arab or whatever he was. He had a black horse holding a fucking flag, and it had the ISIS thing, the white writing on the black flag, 100%. And so people said
that guy's still about. That guy's still about.
I don't know if he's about, but he didn't get nicked. He was on the phone.
What do you mean he didn't get nicked? How do you know he didn't get nicked?
So how do you know he did get nicked?
That's a ridiculous thing to say. You just made a contention that he displayed it with immunity.
You just asked me.
I'm saying, following on from what you just said, how do you know that he didn't get nicked?
And Nasser didn't get nicked. I seen Nasser the other day.
How
and
do
he
you
been
know
to
that?
speak all
How
after.
how do you know people aren't getting nicked? Do people talk about being nicked when they get nicked?
I know Zabida ain't getting nicked.
Bruv. As far as I know, Zabida and her up have both had visits from counter-terror police. Both.
But didn't get nicked though. So how do you? But this guy said Ralph got stopped by SO15. But you're not going to
going back to what I was saying. No, but you're going from Ralph, who I'm contending is an agent, to people who would be of interest. They are not the same thing. People of interest are not agents. Do you think Jordan M is of interest, or do you think he's an agent? What do you think? Interest or agent?
I don't think Jordan M. I don't know what Jordan.
Do you think Jordan M is of interest to the security services?
Maybe I guess so. Yeah, why not? Well, maybe
it's one or the other, isn't it? It's either you think
I don't know, bro. Are you
dodgy? Listen to what I'm saying. If you, bruv, you've thrown out a bunch of names. You throw out Respect, you throw out Jordan M, you throw out Zabida. Yeah, and I don't know why we're now on this like paddy business or whatever. You just claim. One sec. You just claim now you're mates with Ralph or whatever. Cool. And if he offered you a job,
he's not my mate. I'll throw him under the bus in a second, bro.
I think we've already established that you don't pressure Ralph on panels. You don't ask him pressing questions about his associations to certain people, his ability to kind of infiltrate groups.
But I don't know what you know, bro. But do you think I researched that shit? We just argue about like.
So again, hold on. Again, like, surely you would have to know what I know in order to be able to make any assessment based on the similar logic that I'm using. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then no, you can't just go. Oh,
you just said Charlie Big Potatoes is Ralph brought him onto the panel. I said, hold on. I said, okay, well, Zabida literally is his mate. Like, they're actually pals. So if that incriminates him, it must also incriminate her. But obviously, you've got a double standard because you don't like one because one's been highly disrespectful towards you and highly invasive and intrusive and all that. Bro, and then the other one is your friend.
You're talking about absolute nonsense. You're talking about someone who would be of interest. What would someone who is an agent do to get close to someone who's of interest? What would they do?
Who's Zabida, you mean?
Bruv, listen, and now you clearly know what I'm talking about because you clearly know.
Well, I can show you. Zabida would, someone who's meant to be someone who is an agent.
Listen. As I've already said, both See Alive and Zabida have had visits from counter-terror police, meaning they are of interest to counter-terror police for some reason, right? Whatever that reason is, who knows?
Or they're their handlers. You like that, innit? Come on. I'm hard at this. They're the handlers. Right. Zabida gets nicked, gets released. Right. Zabida has a panel. He starts a panel to bring prescribed right-wing ultras and consorts with them. And facilitates the interaction between them and hard Islamic fundamentalists. Islamic fundamentalists. Come on, bro.
You talk about it working both ways. So you spoke. No, you're not a pro.
I'm a pro. You're not.
You're an apprentice.
You're sitting with an agent.
If that makes you feel better, no, because I think you've realised what I've been saying to you the whole time. You sit with agents.
Don't try it. I'm winning this.
Not thus far. You've already confirmed that basically you're related to someone who had diplomatic immunity. You would be open to job offers were they to come your way.
Who are you though, man? Probably deep down, like somewhere.
Nope.
What do you mean? You fucking alright, bro. You are more. You have shared closer proximity than I have to whatever this historical figure is. Than you have to fucking the fucking prime minister, bro. What are you talking about? 2 prime ministers, I might add, maybe more. Maybe more cabinet officials. And however, hold on, and I'm not.
This is nonsense. At this point, this is nonsense. So basically, hold on. So Charlie Big Potatoes has been. You've spoken to him on Veli's panel, right? He's been on Veli's panel as well.
Never in my life. Never in my day in my life.
Has he been on Veli's panel?
I couldn't tell you.
He has, hasn't he? He has.
I swear my life, I don't know. I swear.
He's been on Veli's. He's been on Zabida's, and he's been on Sir Faz's. Blue Monday. Who's Blue Monday?
Blue Monday, me and him, we've had many skirmishes still.
What's his background?
He's Scottish. He's a perennialist. That's all I know. And he's an F.
This guy himself said that he is of interest to the security services, and that the call that I was on with him, no, I don't know if you did. I lit
big
up yourself, Lady D. I've been trying to get in touch with you still.
He's another one. He's threatened me with violence off of a debate over genetics. He threatened scientific method, torched his fucking head back. Like he's been through the baptism still. Like, and I don't even make that claim lightly. Like he's honestly been fucked up so many times on the G block.
What we've realized is basically you don't have your own metric to spot agents. What you can do,
I don't. I'll be honest.
So you don't have your own metric. So you yourself, with your own faculties, would be unable to pick out someone likely in the Muslim camp, in the far right camp, in any of these, right?
No, yeah.
You maybe said Jordan M. So
I doubt it. No, I was facetious. I was being facetious. But to be honest with you, thank Christ, I've interacted with you today because now I do have a criteria, and based upon the criteria I'm utilizing.
I don't think you've got. I don't think you've achieved that.
Vida's an agent, bro.
That's
Vida's an agent.
That's fine.
But you know what's crazy, and this is what my point is. It's so fickle the way you're utilizing whatever measurement measuring stick or yardstick you have, that you would literally not. And the sole reason for her disqualification is she's your power. She's your power. That's it.
The wickedest thing.
All it takes to disqualify someone. That's your power.
You keep mentioning this. So yeah, we got the people who've mentioned Reclaim the Streets and Occupy, and yes. People in the chat know, yeah. And as Jenna said, there's a difference between informants and agents. If you're saying Zabid is an informant, or is some sort of asset,
say it. Go on. What you agree,
bruv? You back that up. You explain it. Yeah, but you're gonna do that on the panel. You're so wait, hold on. What you're telling me now? You're gonna do that on the panel with what? The person who you are also contending is our handler.
Who's the handler? You.
No. We're gonna. Who's our? Does she have a handler?
We said the counterterrorism, isn't it?
So agents. So okay. So who's counterterrorism on these panels?
I don't know.
So again, we're back to your lack of a metric to kind of discern things, right?
We're using yours, bro. We're using yours right now, bro.
No, we're not using mine. We're trying to build yours. You just said that you've achieved your own ability to like discern. You've apparently achieved your ability to discern. So you're aware now of the spy cops movement.
No.
You're aware of historic infiltration. Okay, who's Steak Knife? Who is Steak Knife?
I'm utilizing yours,
who was Steak Knife?
Steak Knife.
Yeah, who was Steak Knife?
I don't know. Is that like a code name for something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you don't know who Steak Knife is. So you're not aware of probably the most famous MI5 operative within the Republican movement. You're not aware of any of that.
No, I'm the guy that
Are you aware of any infiltration? As I've asked you before, I think you said no already. You don't actually know of any infiltration.
Hold on, wait 1 second. I'm familiar with. I think there was like a special branch. They were like some Russian spies in like the south of England, and there was like they uncovered some big plot. There was a big plot foiled. I think that's about the extent of Operation Jackpot, the East London.
So you know about Jackpot? No, Jackpot was police corruption. That was police.
Yeah, sorry, that's not really infiltration. You're right. I apologize. To be honest, I only remember that because it was you that told me about that. I'll be lying.
So we're going back. So again, your source of information for all things related to kind of police corruption, spy cops, whatever is me. That's probably I'd say that makes you look worse. You come off looking worse for that. So I would say that you should go away and do your history on reading about how groups have been infiltrated and controlled. Going back to the 60s, going back to because it gives you a better ability to navigate.
No, it's not because I'm using it, but you are more educated.
It gives you a better ability. Let me ask you this.
And your criteria, do you know what it's like?
Tell me one movement. Tell me one movement. Tell me one popular movement on the left, on the right, in the middle that hasn't been infiltrated by undercover police or the security services in this country.
I will answer your question when you let me finish my thing. Hold on 1 second.
Hold on 1 second. Elliot.
Yo, Born Rich.
What's good with you, Elliot?
It's Esau, man. That's my real name still.
Oh, jeez, man,
Yeah,
like
just wanna say
Esau.
something. I'm not involved in no troll groups with Dan or fucking this little idiot sellout James
Bro,
Jones.
I've never been in a group with you, bro. I don't. This is mad.
I know.
Hey,
I know.
what y'all
That's what
doing?
Jupiter was saying yesterday.
Hey, wait, Esau, you insult me, bro.
What is this,
Why
man?
would you do that, bro?
Yo, bro,
Okay,
you
I'm
now
not sure.
Esau's. Sorry, now Esau's here, bro. You're gonna lay down your theory. So James Jones thinks that Zabida is some agent or something.
No, I don't.
Man, Zabida ain't no agent, man. That was an agent.
Once again.
Full of shit online.
Do you think Ralph is an agent, though? That's what Dan thinks.
No, Ralph is not an agent. Everyone's just good with their mouths online. But people stop like just going crazy.
Come on, bro. Talk to them, Esau. My young nigga. Talk to them, bro.
Hey, what
Well,
y'all
again,
doing, man?
the same line of question.
This is y'all's group. So
The only person that's dodgy is Respect, but everybody else is good.
Hey, Esau, I like you. I'm not an agent.
No. All I've got to say is, I'll be real. Yeah, I do believe you doing you these pictures down at Jupiter's accusing Afghan, and so have you, James as well. I don't know what she's talking about.
No, Dan didn't. I could easily have done. He didn't do that. He's never done that.
No, I don't know because I wasn't there, but one thing I do know from what I've seen, doesn't seem like you would do that to Jupiter. So that's an Afghan move.
You know what I'll say? Do you know what I don't even mind saying, bro? Because like I said, I never had no beef or nothing personal. Dan many times has gone basically in so many words allowed Jupiter. Like I remember arguing with Dan when Dan let Jupiter on her panel, and she conveniently forgot that Dan was such a bad guy when she was all jumping on his panel when his panel started to pop and all that. So all of this stuff, man, she just develops these narratives ad hoc whenever it seems to suit her. This is all a lie. And if she felt like this, she would have held it against him at the time, but she didn't.
Yeah, but bro, listen. We're talking about Jupiter. That's a slander factory. Everything that's come out from Jupiter, and a lot of it's come from Ralph. I'm Hype Not Hate. I'm Antifa. I'm some groomer. I'm a fucking doxer. I'm whatever. Yeah. All of these things I'm apparently, and Jupiter's got the fucking measurement. She got my measurement. She's clocked me from the fucking.
You've been arrested. Remember, you were spoken to by police yesterday. I heard. Even though I know you weren't, but she said you were.
No, what?
Yeah, she was like, "We were spoken to by the police." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Is she mad?
That's what I mean. It's just fuck. I don't like that. Why do you think I get her so much? I hate her, bitch.
Yo. I hear you, Lady D.
And then she's like, "Oh yeah." She convinces herself of her lies. That's why the police don't take her seriously. Why do you think we're all still here?
Bro, I'll tell you the worst thing. You know, her son is probably going to join the police force to like do like battle against these people who like wronged his mum or his family or whatever. And he's going to find out I was never fucking involved. You're going to waste his whole career. So listen, Jupiter's son, I wish you the best in your career, but you're not going to find anything.
Are we not going to address what I said here, which is, it's actually quite interesting that Zabida has done two nickable things and has not been nicked. And I'm not saying she's a...
You go and stick it on Zabida.
This isn't what it does when his name being out there, that's why.
You go and stick it on Zabida, bro. Do what you want. I've been sticking it on Ralph for 2 years. So listen, just say I'm better placed to judge that than you. If you think Zabida's an agent, as far as I know, you used to say Zabida was Zabida was your little driller, this and that. Zabida's your little.
She was my little guy. She was my little dog. She broke my heart, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But what I'm saying to you is,
yes, I don't think say is you go and level them accusations. Once you've developed,
now you've been being
disrespectful. As I'm saying, don't just remix it when you clock the ramifications of the things that I'm saying. I.e., you have been sitting on a panel with an agent for a year plus now, and you don't want to see it.
All right.
Then you want to flip it around. Then you want to flip it around and mention my panels or whatever. People jumping on when I was asleep, bruv. I never let anyone on the fucking panel with ISIS flags while I was.
Listen to what I'm saying. I don't know.
You know that, and you know that.
Yeah, I'm not. Stop being childish.
I don't know what. No, bruv. Don't talk about childish, man.
I didn't say you did. I didn't say you did. So stop misrepresenting what I'm saying. And I also said many times, which you're conveniently not listening to, that I don't think Zabida is an agent. What this is, my friend, is an internal critique. I'm utilizing your argumentation.
As I've already said,
you will not. You
lack
will not
understanding.
Oh,
you lack the understanding to be able to invert my logic. You don't understand.
How? I am though. I am, but you're not going to accept it. I'm not going to accept it because you are biased, my friend.
Man's already asked you. Bruv, you're biased in your inability to see agents, right?
How?
And remember, I only named one person. I'm not shooting from the hip saying everyone's a fucking agent. Yeah,
you are, bro.
I've said Ralph. For 2 years, I've said Ralph.
Multiple people with
for 2 years. For 2 years, I've said Ralph. For 2 years,
you said multiple.
Who is Jordan Gold? Who is he? You tell me about Jordan Gold. Tell me about Jordan Gold.
He worked for Vice. I thought you say he worked for Vice. That's all I remember.
Who else did he work for?
I don't remember. That's what I'm saying. I remember.
That's what I'm saying. So you're not levels. So again, you just let these people
run
said I'm
levels,
the panels. So no, but you just said you're a pro. You just said you're a pro. Did you not?
That was for that was being jovial, bro.
Okay, so again, so who is Jordan Gold?
Do you like belaboring points, bro? You just heard my answer 10 seconds ago.
Works for Vice, so you don't know who he is apart from that he works for Vice.
Would you think I did further research after your little expose? I don't care.
Yeah, I know you don't care. That's what I'm saying. So you don't really. You lack one sec. You lack the will, and you also lack the kind of framework to be able to assess who these agents are.
No, but don't try to divert.
One, you don't know what they look like. One, you don't know what they look like, and two, you don't care anyway.
You said I lack the ability.
Let's zoom that. Do you care?
Let
me ask you this. No, because the next question is killer.
Stop doing this.
Do you care if there is agents? Do you care if there's agents on the panel?
I can't in good faith allow myself to be steamrolled like there's no homo. So let me just say what I'm saying. I'll answer your question happily. Yeah. You said I lack the ability to inverse
the will.
Hold on, pause, sir. Reverse engineer the the logic, the reasoning.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is what you just provided is not evidence of that, because all I need to do is use exactly the correct. So now we said, all right, cool, immunity, impervious to a police or some form of prosecution. I've given you an example of that. Proximity to, interaction with, enlisting the support of people in prescribed groups. I've given you evidence of that. Association with people utilizing prescribed groups' images without them being prosecuted as a result of that. I've given you that. Oh no, but that's your friend, so she don't get. She don't choose.
You keep doing this. So you're saying now. One sec. So you're saying now that Sabida's displayed prescribed terrorist group logos. Is that what you're saying?
That's literally not what I said. So that's not.
No, you did. You just mentioned that.
I just said association with.
Association with who?
People who have.
Yes, so that would make her of interest in a network of people who are of interest. That doesn't make her an agent.
No, hold on. But I'm saying, yeah. So okay, then all right, fine. Do you know what? I'll concede that. I'll concede that point to you. That's 2 out of 3, though. So 2 out of 3 of the things that Ralph has been accused of, she's been accused of. So what are you saying? 2 out of 3 means what? Of interest, and 3 out of 3 is the fucking magic trifecta. Is that what you're saying? That it needs to be the perfect triumvirate for fucking someone to be accused of. Come on, man. Listen, bro.
So you're saying using my one sec. Right. Do you care if these panels do have agents on them?
I'd like to know.
You would like to know?
Yeah.
No, but would it affect your?
Well, evidently I care. I'd like to know, innit?
So you do care?
Obviously, if I want to know, I would have to care, wouldn't I? Why else would I want to? Why else would I want? Want implies caring. Yeah.
So how would you go about if you were going to ask questions just by using your kind of ability to question? So what sort of questions would you ask people?
I don't feel like I feel like if I asked Ralph if he's an agent, he would say yes. So I don't feel like
I'm just saying what line of questioning would you follow to try and discern that?
I don't know. I don't have a patented approach, innit? I'd have to. I guess I'd do it piecemeal. I'll play it by ear, innit? I don't know.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what's one of the most common recruiting grounds for the security services? Where do people normally get recruited?
A fucking battlefield.
University.
I don't know.
Which universities in London are the most? SOAS, right? You've already said it. SOAS. How did you know about SOAS?
I think you told me about it. I didn't know it was before you man talked about you and Patterson.
How many? All right, so someone was talking about agents in the chat. What university did Mohammed Hijab go to?
Gonna guess SOAS? I don't actually know.
What university did Kalam go to?
SOAS.
What university did Danjuma go to?
SOAS? Do I get any points for this?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Right. So,
hey, what's going on?
So one sec. So you know about SOAS. You know that people, and do you know why people are recruited at SOAS? Do you know what SOAS was set up for? The SOAS is the School of Oriental and African Studies in London.
Yeah, I know what it means.
People who don't know. So what was the? One sec. Do you know?
Don't talk shit now. Don't talk shit now. Was when Dan was doing this to James, you were like, "Oh, big up Dan, the little Dan." So don't do this. Oh, what's going on, guys? Now,
yeah, I want to know. I want to know this shit, nigga. No, James, relax, James. I want to know about this school. What is this school?
Right. So SOAS was set up in 20s or 30s, basically to produce colonial administrators. So these are people who would go out to the countries that they studied. So if it was like they go to the university, they study about India, and then they go and become an administrator in India, like a governor or some shit. Or they go to Africa, or they go to China, Hong Kong, wherever it was. So it basically turns out people who typically work for like the Foreign Office, the British Foreign Office, which is kind of like the overseas corps or some shit in America, right? But typically it provides, what's the word? A pretty good like background, a foundation in a lot of can be quite radical politics. In the 60s and 70s, it became quite like a radical uni. A lot of like communists there, a lot of black, like Pan-Africanist type people who were there. Yeah, a lot of people have come out through SOAS, and it's definitely a space that's of interest to the security services. It attracts quite a lot of young radical.
David Lammy, Aung San Suu Kyi.
But a bag of people, Aung San Suu Kyi, fucking hell, a whole heap of people have come through SOAS. But yeah, SOAS is basically a space where people get the tap, and typically it's like a lecturer. It can be a lecturer who taps you, and you're just whipped into this world of like espionage and whatever else. And cool, on the face of it, not issues, right? If you've got no issues with that type of employment and you're happy with the kind of the history of the UK and you trust the government and that sort of stuff, that's fine. My contention is that the government is normally, more often than not, inept, and mistakes are made. There's oversights, there's questionable kind of ethical things that go on. So you'll find people who, for example, might be wanted for like murder in could be Jordan, could be somewhere else. There's a Shia guy in Buckinghamshire who is wanted for like issuing fatwas and maybe funding like Shia terrorist groups or whatever. He got busted out of prison by the British and is now like just holed up in Buckinghamshire making radio shows triggering Sunnis and whatever else, and that's his whole job. Britain actually has quite a good history of basically making a comfortable space for Islamists. You can look at groups like the Muslim Brotherhood. So someone mentioned Mohammed Hijab. Mohammed Hijab is kind of linked-ish in with the Brotherhood and whatever else. You can see the Muslim Brotherhood is kind of like a fraternal kind of, it operates in the same way that they say like Marxists operate. So like infiltrating institutions, becoming like the head of police or the head of like something in a council or whatever else. And then they all have this kind of like unified theory or whatever. So anyway, the UK for whatever reason likes to house these people. So you've got a couple of groups here. It was a group called Al Muhajirun in the 90s, which basically galvanized the sort of jihadist mentality that existed in the UK at the time and weaponized it, turned it outwards and used it in foreign conflicts. So in the 90s, there was the Bosnian conflict, the war in Bosnia. So before the boots on the ground by the West and NATO, there was Islamists who were recruited in mosques like Finsbury Park in the UK to go abroad and basically conduct jihad, like overseas or whatever. And until 9/11, it was probably a relatively like uncontroversial thing. So you'd have people like Anjem Chowdhury, Omar Bakri, and these are all people who've probably got quite close links
to fighting against Islamists.
Well, no, I'm saying they're infiltrated as well. Like it's ridiculous to think it's just the left and the right. It's like Islamists as well. So yeah, Islamists are also.
They're infiltrating what? Your homeland?
Yeah, I guess they have infiltrated essentially, but then they're being used. They get used. So it's typically for like overseas conflicts. So recently we saw like Syria, Libya. Obviously, Shamama Begum, people like that are over in Syria now. That's kind of probably a result of like botched foreign policy decision to basically allow people to travel to Libya to get rid of Gaddafi, which worked kind of okay until the Manchester bombing, and then there was links back to basically the forces that we'd supported in Libya and trained in Libya and backed up with air force power and whatever, being linked to the guy who went and blew himself up in Manchester. So I think the thinking was, if we allow these people, we support them and allow them to like determine the politics of this far-flung country, they won't come back here and do anything, right? And it didn't work in that case. That guy, what's his name? Forget his name. The guy who did it anyway, that guy's dad was like a top-ranking general in a paramilitary group that was funded, supported by the UK and France, the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. So that's an example of like blowback. So basically, find these people, recruit them, get them to kind of go and sign up for jihad abroad, and then hope that they'll just get smoked by a drone or a Russian plane or whatever else, or they just blow themselves up somewhere. And yeah, I think that's becoming a questionable policy. So yeah, for the next couple of years, it's probably going to be a political hot potato. Why were people allowed to travel over to Syria? Why was the official position that the government took, one that was against the government of Syria and technically like aligned with the goals of these Islamists? And I've said this to people before. I've said this to Uncle Omar. I've said this to Samaya. I said, essentially, your position is no different from the Western foreign policy goal. Like how is what you want in getting rid of these dictators any different to what the government wants? Like how are you some like anti-ist? To me, it's just government. It just seems like
agent.
Yeah. So now that you know a little bit more about how things work with the Islamist groups, then you also transfer that across to the far right, far left, if you want, any other groups of interest by the security services. Now, it's not the case that like lefties are being rounded up and bussed over to fucking fight in Azerbaijan or wherever. It's not happening like that. And it's not really happening with the far right either. Or that did happen in the 90s. So, yeah, as I say, groups are infiltrated, groups are controlled and directed. And I would say that Islamists typically serve a more useful purpose when it comes to like foreign policy and are a problem domestically. But far right is probably just a problem domestically. It doesn't really have any overseas links, not really. And again, same probably with the far left. It's just like domestic stuff. So the Islamist stuff is interesting because it's foreign policy and domestic policy at the same time mixed in. So yeah, you're probably gonna be able to. You're probably going to be able to spot the agents within Islamist groups a lot more easily. So people like Anjem Chowdhury, people like Marzan Beg. Do you know who Marzan Beg is?
No, but I want to say something to you quickly though, yeah, before we go. And don't get me wrong, I respect the handle you got on geopolitics, man. I've always given you credit for that. But I think what I tried to do there by reflecting.
It didn't work.
It
was a broken mirror. It didn't work. All right. You've got a little way to go. I
know, but bro, just don't be so intense. Yeah? What I'm saying is there's human qualities that invalidate any argument or any accusation. So, like, even though I know you're not completely sold and convinced that it's impossible for her to be an agent, for instance, right? Because of whatever.
Bro, if I thought she was an agent, I would say she's an agent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. I'm making that point. Don't worry.
What are you talking about?
I'm not. So let me
listen, bro. So hold on. So listen. When I say who I think is an agent,
how illogical is that?
If you ask her, if you ask her,
cut someone off and say, "What are you talking about?" How would you know if you're literally talking while I'm talking? Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, the human, the whatever connection you possess with this individual, and there's some kind of subtle knowledge or whatever you have about it's some idiosyncratic knowledge you have of her character that lets you know or that convinces you that she's not an agent, right? I'm saying that maybe without that connection. Let's say
I've literally just said, whether I like her, whether I don't think she's an agent. If
I know, and I'm trying to make
a call her out, and that's what I'm saying. I would call her out if I thought that. You can't, yo, you can't, you're gonna repeat the same thing with some bigger words. I ain't got time to listen to that, bro.
I know, but one second.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You don't want to hear that shit, James.
You're gonna reel off the same thing again.
I haven't finished what I'm saying, bro. It's just crazy. What I'm saying is, I don't necessarily need your vantage point to make the same judgments. I may be able to, maybe erroneously, maybe
make
correctly.
a call then. Who? Name someone.
So I don't. But I've told you I don't think these people are agents, bro. And what I'm trying to show you, but you're so people?
Which people? Mohammed Hijab? Do you think Mohammed Hijab is an agent?
Which people you talking about? One second. Can I finish?
Which people?
Can I just get through a train of thought? So there's some people that I don't know, right? So I'm saying I haven't made the appraisal. There's some people where I'm saying that I've been around them enough, and I possess what I believe to be there enough proximity for me to be able to judge whether or not they're an agent or not. Who are
the agents, man? Let us know.
Listen to what I'm saying. I don't know that somebody is an agent. I used man's criteria, and I came to the conclusion that if I was done, I would believe Zabid is an agent. I would believe Raspik's an agent. I would believe Ralph is an agent, so on and so forth. He said, no, not this one, for whatever reasons. I don't believe they're consistent, but I believe that actually he's taking them on.
You believe that they're agents, though? What
obviously,
agents?
You know I don't. You know I'm already. I don't believe.
No, but James, in your private time when you're by yourself, who are the people that you say, man? I think these people are agents. Like who? You know what I mean? Give me a couple. Just give me one name, and then we can move on.
One.
Yeah, one name.
I don't know. I don't know if you can tell. I don't know. I'm thinking. I don't know. Do you know, Boone? Let me ask you. Do you know someone? You think
an agent?
Do you think?
No. Well, let me tell you something about agent. Like agent, it's weird, bro. I'm in America, James, so it don't matter. To me, it don't matter, right? Well, if I say that he's an agent, like when I think of an agent, I think a person that's going to fucking get me locked up, right?
Donnie Brasco.
So an agent. If I'm not doing anything for an agent to get me locked up, then I can't get locked up, right?
Tell me one. You think someone you think is.
Say it again.
The question was think, not know, and not about you. It's not about getting you arrested. Someone you just think is an agent.
Who do I think is an agent? But I don't know the definition of agent. Give me your definition of agent.
Someone working with the security services. Someone working with CIA, MI5, FBI.
Someone who's reporting. Yes, I do think people on here are
not reporting. No, not reporting. Infiltrating. So pretending they're part of the group, but really they're trying to get the whole group arrested, or they're trying to get the group to do some crazy shit that they weren't planning to.
No.
Think about in the US. What do you think about that?
Let me say no.
What's the dude's name? Grandmaster, fucking the gun dude. You know the what's it called? No, fuck NFAC. The NFAC dude.
Yeah. The black guy.
What happened to him?
Do you think he's an agent?
What about that Cuban
guy? I hate the word.
What about that Cuban guy from the Proud Boys?
He's weird, and if you know, you wouldn't fuck with him.
Yeah. I'd agree. All right, let's go back in history. So there were people around like Malcolm X in the Fiddy Temple. What was it called? Whatever that chapter was in Fiddy, who were agents. It's known. There's videos that have come out with people who infiltrated.
Yeah.
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, that whole civil rights movement.
There was the guy that killed
Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton. The guy that killed Fred Hampton, he was like on camera. He was a certified agent.
Right. So you've got.
There's a couple of them, but it's a couple of them. You're going to have people who snitch. But those
we're not talking about that's an asset. That's an asset. We're not talking about
let me tell you the difference. Can I tell you the difference? Those people were dealing with each other in real life on a physical basis, right? So now you have room to try to figure out who's the snitch, or you have room to even accuse a person of being a snitch. Like when you're doing this shit online, this shit is just online, bro.
No, it's not. Look, I'll tell you this now, yeah. If the internet existed during the civil rights era, the job of the CIA and the FBI would have been much easier. So not dealing with like they don't have to go to a meeting. You imagine the old infiltration. You go to a meeting in a church, you take notes. You might take some secret film or some shit like that. These days, you don't need to do that. You can monitor Facebook. You can monitor people's phones. You can monitor conversations like people's phones. People like bug their own like houses or whatever with their phones. So the levels are way up. And if you're talking about the Western like developed countries' security apparatus, like it's pretty far-reaching. Like the US has authority to hack any phone in the world, pretty much. They can hack my phone right now. They can hack anyone on this panel. Like all of this stuff.
Patriot Act.
What do you mean incorrect?
Huh?
What do you mean incorrect?
No, it's a line from a movie when in the Departed when they want to hack some people's phones and then the police cheated. Alec Baldwin's like Patriot Act, like as in it gave them carte blanche to do it.
Yeah,
so
you've got UK equivalents of that. So backdoors into any app that's on your phone, real-time monitoring of your bank account, real-time monitoring of your cell phone GPS location, all that sort of stuff. Everything, pretty much any data that you send from point A to point B is monitored. Basically, they run like fiber optics, right? So most of the signals are sent through fiber optics. What they call signals intelligence. All of that stuff, they basically put mirrors in those fiber optic cables. So there's like a reflection of all the data that gets sent. All the data that gets picked up in like fucking Cornwall or whatever, wherever the pipe comes in, gets bounced straight off to GCHQ. Signals are picked up by GCHQ and whatever else, and then given out to the various intelligence services. It's kind of how it works. So yeah, when it comes to monitoring, this whole online scene, and you got to bear in mind, you had the guy who was plotting to kill Tan. The guy who was plotting to kill Tan was posting COE videos in Telegram groups saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna behead this guy. We should behead this guy. He's pro-gay and all this sort of stuff." Yeah, that was the guy from. That was the Streatham attacker. There's been multiple people who've been linked to ISIS. You had that Abu Qasim guy, right? You remember Abu Qasim, the cameraman guy? You had Abu Qasim. Well, now you're picking out agents. Okay, so you control with that.
What are we saying about Leon?
Yeah, they killing people.
Sorry, guys. Can I say something? I did not pump on that little bitch Veli. That was Afghan. I wasn't even watching that.
Hold on. Wait. Esau, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Born. I apologize, Born.
No, Esau.
I have to say it, Born.
Esau, he's the only one off limits, Esau. If you can.
No, but hold on, but Esau, why you not so much Veli? Veli always.
I did not pull on the bitch because I'm literally looking at comments going, "Oh, it was true." So I'm like, "You're a fucking toothless cunt."
Why are you so angry with Vel when Vel's one of the only?
Because he's telling, "Oh, he's poor bombing me." He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Let me show you something. On a big man thing, yeah. Bro, it's banter, bro. Like whenever you jump on and we all trash each other, you disrespect me, I disrespect you. But it's not personal.
You think I got time to report on my channel? If I do it with football, I do it with my own actual avatar. I wouldn't actually like to go on a slide.
Bro. You always make it like this shit carries on for days. It's a one-day thing. The day you come on and you're disrespectful, we're disrespectful. Boom. Next day, refresh. It's not that deep, bro. No one is
question. The boyfriend's telling people, I pull mom, and the worst part is you have Afghan running around here, dissing black people, and this guy's giving him money, he's just taking everything word he says out of his mouth. It's fucking him. It's Afghan Paul Ravelli. It's Afghan doing it. I'm making out of other people, but the fool is too stupid to see what's going on in front of him.
Esau, you gotta take that discrepancy to G Block, bro. Yeah.
Born. My accounts are locked there, so I can't exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. How am I poor mom in this bitch?
We can't be comfortable with it, Esau. We can't come over here on Born Rich's panel and talk shit about Veli and just.
All right. No. I hear you. I'm just saying it wasn't me. Before we would go, oh, it was Esau. Like, no, shut up.
No, it's all good. But take care of that. You know what I mean? You need to talk to him on his platform. He ain't here. He's not here right now.
Yo,
the little bitch has me blocked, so I can't. So I have to say it here.
Yeah, well, okay, well, Esau, Esau, guess what happened? Guess what happened, Esau? I got blocked on the YouTube channel, and guess what happened? I never went back.
Wait, you're blocked. You're blocked on Vellies, though, Esau.
No, this phone here, what I use to usually go on is blocked. Another one. I only use 2 phones. Everyone thinks they've got like loads of mobile phones. I'm like fucking 2. I live with people. It's easy to get on a handset and be like, look at me.
Bro, relax. Listen to what I'm saying. Are you're never going to be responsible for porn bombing, right?
If I porn, listen to me, Jay. This is what I'm saying to you. If it was me, I would fucking tell you. If anyone could do anything to you online,
you're not going to be in the future. Because if that's the case, I'll just tell Velly to unblock you. No problem.
Yo, allow this Velly talk, man. Allow this. So,
but you
why is it people like Afghan? I have to say, big up Lady and Ninefa. Yeah, they fucking told that bitch yesterday. Told her. I'm listening to it now.
Esau, have you ever porn bomb, man?
Not. Yes, I have, but not Vellies.
That's wow.
Yo,
wow.
Everyone. Let me ask you.
That's that bullshit, man. I'm gonna be 100. That's that bullshit.
What? Racist channels. If the channel's racist, they're being cunts. No, if the channel's racist, I'm being cunts. Yes.
We don't do sabotage. We don't move in sabotage type.
No. Some people deserve it, Born. Some people deserve it, Born.
Bullshit, Esau. That's that bullshit.
If you knew it was, you go, nah, cool, I understand that. If you knew the people, you'd be like, you know what? Fuck
that's that bullshit.
Hey, Born, are you seeing this? So Lady D's got Esau's back, yeah? And she hates me. What the fuck have I ever? That's crazy, bro. That is
porn bombing. No, listen though. If you porn bomb, that's some other
crazy.
That's some other shit.
I porn bomb the Wash channel. So you know the Wasp is, and you won't know the Wasp is.
Listen, this is getting a bit deep. Yo, the man's already said he didn't do it. He said he didn't do it. He said he didn't porn bomb Velly's channel, and then we got some whole big thing. So
yeah, I'm gonna get him on block.
Let's just get back on the topic. James, who are the James? Who are the 77th Brigade? Or what is the 77th?
That shit that Cohen was talking about, the fucking
I don't know about Cohen. I don't know about Cohen, man.
Yeah, it was. That's what he was talking about.
What is the 77th?
That's what he said, bro. He said the 77th Brigade. I swear.
Yes, what is it, James?
I remember he said it, and he got it from that when you put in the words and the letters and the numbers and that shit.
It's got nothing to do with fucking. It's got nothing to do with
London, right? Hold on.
What is the 77th Brigade? I'm gonna read it out. I'm gonna read it out. One second. I'm gonna read it out.
I know that's what you said, bro.
I'm gonna read it out. Yeah, I'm gonna read it out. The 77th Brigade is a British Army formation created in January 2015 by renaming the Security Assistance Group, the SAG, under the Army 2020 concept. It's based in Denison Barracks in Hermitage, Berkshire, and became operational on April 2015. The brigade was named the 77th in tribute to the 77th Indian Infantry Brigade, which is part of the Chindits, blah, blah, blah. Goes on to talk about the role. So the SAGS group was to work with cross-Whitehall agencies, which is like the defence, right? To achieve the goals of defence engagement and build stability overseas strategies. 77th Brigade was created to draw together a host of existing and developing capabilities essential to meet the challenges of modern conflict and warfare. Those challenges, those modern needs and requirements are basically for reservists in the army to have a presence online that's structured into the following units. So the headquarters element, the media operations group, the security capacity building team, the 15th psychological operations group, and the military stabilization support group. Now, the 77th Brigade, what would they be used for, right? So activities. The brigade participated in the 2-week disaster relief exercise in Bosnia and Herzegovina, blah, 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 blah. The brigade uses social media such as Twitter and Facebook, as well as PSYOP techniques to influence populations and behavior. David Miller, a professor of political sociology at the University of Bristol, who studies British government propaganda and PR, said it is involved in manipulation of the media, including using fake online profiles. So basically, they're there to kind of influence the narrative around things that could be of, of interest, again, to the security services, right? Anything that could threaten the security, the economic security or whatever of the UK, they're online. So stuff like COVID, right? If there's like 1 million YouTubers putting out these tinfoil hats conspiracy theories about COVID and whatever else, that needs to be challenged, and that will be challenged by this group, the 77th Brigade, right? They'd also be involved in other stuff that affects the security of the country, but that's just one example. So last year they came out, they're countering COVID misinformation using non-lethal forms of psychological warfare, according to the UK Defence Journal, including using Facebook and Twitter. So it's basically an online reservist corps that's dedicated to kind of, information warfare, essentially. So counter information, for example, there could be harmful or what are deemed to be harmful narratives that come from groups like ISIS, could be, that need to be countered in the UK here, could be coming from overseas groups like, for example, Black Lives Matter, right? That could be deemed to be a group whose narrative harms the UK security for some reason, right? So there would be counter warfare launched against those narratives. It's considered warfare. So it could be that there's like state-run operations that are going, like, so the Chinese or the Russians have a load of money and they want to push a particular agenda. You've got like Russia Today and Rupley, who are heavily involved in like this anti-lockdown protest stuff at the moment, right? So if they're putting across a certain narrative, there's a need for a counter narrative to be built around that. So the 77th Brigade will be involved in that. There's also another group called JTRIG, the Joint Task Force something information group or something, that was doing similar stuff before. But again, fake profiles, the use of disinformation, misinformation, or just like accurate information in some cases. But yeah, 77th Brigade will be all over YouTube panels, probably, if they're like unmoderated, and if people are discussing stuff that's like politically sensitive. So if you don't know about the 77th, then again, I don't think you have the ability to like judge these things. I don't think Ralph is 77th. I could be wrong though. But yeah, whatever capacity he's operating in. So you've got people like Ralph. You've got people like Ralph who I think, I don't know, it's one of the M's, and then you've got other people who could be employed with JTRIG or 77th or whatever else. But just dealing with like the people who are probably of use to like MI5, you're dealing with like Islamists, far right, and the far left, as I said. So yeah, someone said Israel beats us to it. So yeah, Israel's ability to kind of affect the narrative. They've got good propagandists, like someone like Israel Advocacy Movement, Joseph from the Park. He probably performs that function quite well. You could say for Islamists, you got people like, I say Islamists, I'm using the term Islamist in the like, I'm saying people who are involved in like the political kind of realization of Islamic goals. So political Islam. You have, a lot of people in the UK. You've got 5 pillars, people like Dili Hussein, Mohammed Hijab would probably be in there. Yeah, there's different groups. And whether or not their narratives are countered or whether or not their narratives are controlled is the next question. But if you think that PA isn't controlled and hasn't been infiltrated, you're wrong. If you think the EDL wasn't infiltrated and hasn't been controlled, you're wrong. If you think that BLM hasn't been controlled and infiltrated, you're wrong. Same with Extinction. Basically, any group that's come to prominence in the last 5 to 10 years will be of interest. That's any group. Could be Antifa, could be fucking some fracking group, could be some weird free party group. Bruv, they had police in an outfit of rebel clowns. There was a group called Circa, right? The something clown army, rebel clown army, that basically ran around doing these little troll things where they all dressed up as clowns and took feather dusters into like army recruitment offices and shit, and tried to join the army as clowns. And they were infiltrated by a woman called Lynn Watson. You can go on Google Lynn Watson if you want, and you can see that you basically dressed up as a clown for 5 years and then got like phased out and moved off somewhere else. And that's a clown group. So if clown groups are being infiltrated that are kind of roughly anti-war, and this is, I'm saying everything. If you're anti-war, you're infiltrated. If you're a hunt saboteur, you're infiltrated. If you're far right, you're infiltrated. If you're far left, you're infiltrated. That's why I don't join groups. And that's why it was laughable when I first come on this scene, the people were trying to paint me as Antifa. Because one thing that does, one, it justifies me as some sort of target, some interest for the security services, because I'm seen as someone who's potentially there to perhaps violently counter the far right. And that's what they're concerned with when it comes to Antifa. Because make no bones about it, I've already mentioned the state-run apparatuses of Antifa are like Hope Not Hate. Hope Not Hate is a group. If you look into it, you will see exactly what I'm saying. And I would say actually someone like Lister is probably doing the work of like state anti-fascism as well, whether he knows it or not. So yeah, anyway, it's deep, man. And you can think what you want about Speaker's Corner. You think it's just some little random park where fucking random people who mean nothing go on a Sunday. It's not that. If you look at the people who've been arrested, if you look at the people if you look at the people who've come through that park and launched their careers, and I'm talking about people going back to the 90s, we're mainly talking about Islamists in the 90s, Omar Bakri, Anjem Chowdhury, Abu Hamza, all of those people, yeah. Not only did they inhabit that park, but they had a close working relationship at some point with the security services.
But when you spoke to Lister, did he accuse you of being involved with the collective?
No.
You're bugging up, bro. He said he called me an NRX member.
If you're not with Lister, you're NRX, but I don't think he even
knows.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly the vibe he was on.
Yeah, someone just mentioned Nick Lowe's. Do you know who Nick Lowe's is?
Who is that in the chat that keeps saying that? This person seems very invested in this conversation.
Yeah, I think he fucking knows about it. Probably he knows about Hope.
Was it someone?
So do you know who Nick Lowe's is?
No.
Do you know what Hope Not Hate is, apart from what you little?
I just know people accusing you, but
you don't know.
I know it's like left wing, like an Antifa kind of group, like some kind of equality, far left bullshit fucking group.
Now, the interesting thing about Hope Not Hate, they don't advocate for like violent confrontation. There are anti-fascist groups in this country that have, in the past, as King Shaka was talking or alluding to, advocated for violence and see violence as like a legitimate tool to be used against fascists. And there's a debate to be had around that. Now, if you think that a group that's prepared to use violence in the UK is not of interest to the security services, you're wrong. And I'm talking about any group. But bear in mind, there was infiltrators sent in to go and monitor Millwall and Chelsea.
Yeah, well,
you know football hooligans. Do you think they have any?
Yeah, I know about Donald McIntyre and that.
And interestingly, do you know who worked with Donald McIntyre on that exposure? A group called Searchlight, which was the precursor to Hope Not Hate, which was run by Nick Lowe's and a guy called Jerry Gables. Now, that's an interesting one that you mentioned. If you've seen that documentary, you remember the guy said that he moved into the street with this dude, yeah? Find out where he lived. That house was set up before filming started. His whole sheet, you can go and read this. There's an interesting article by a guy called Larry O'Hara that goes into the whole Nick Lowe's, Donald McIntyre, Chelsea Headhunters thing, right? And pretty much, right, Nick Lowe's and that group were operating in some sort of advisory capacity to the BBC film crew that did this undercover thing with McIntyre or whatever, right? They're operating, advising them on who's who within the far right and within football hooliganism, right? And at that point, they come up with a couple of names. There's a guy called Andy, fucking hell, forget the names now. Nightmare, Andy Frayne, someone else. Three of them, right? There's a couple of them, right?
He's the one that's pro, isn't it?
Nightmare, yeah, Nightmare. They were of interest because they were on the fringes of Combat 18, the group you mentioned earlier, which interestingly was never prescribed by the state and was also run from the head by Special Branch. The top guy in Combat 18 was Special Branch, Charlie Sargent. He was the top guy. And essentially all of the campaigns, the death threats, etc., that were issued by Combat 18, all the intimidation, the people they beat up, that was all essentially signed off and sanctioned by the state, if you zoom out and look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So going forward, those groups, once they kind of like disintegrated, he got sent to prison. They murdered another guy called Chris Castle, got sent down. People just made it into like football hooligan groups and whatever. And they saw football hooliganism as some sort of like recruiting ground. So go out, go on the terraces, get people drunk, get them coked up, and then, do you want to join you're proud nationalist or whatever. They do that, right?
Suggestion,
suggestion. Nick Lowe's, Hope Not Hate. They basically say, Donald McIntyre, we know people within Chelsea Headhunters who are far right, associated with Combat 18. And they gave them essentially like a sheet, like a rundown, a sheet printed straight from like the police national computer. How does a group a non-governmental organization have that level of access? And I don't agree with the politic. I'm just dealing with the process. I disagree. I think the process is questionable ethically, right? I'm talking about the undercover stuff. I'm talking about the fact that this is a group that's non-state, apparently colluding with the state to get pointers on where to go and to show film crews. Now, this is the other thing, right? The BBC is what? It's a part of the state, right? Yeah?
It's a part of the state, yeah.
Yeah,
of course. BBC, British.
BBC, British, right? So you've got one institution of the state, the BBC, right? You've got the middleman group, this Hope Not Hate Searchlight group, and then you've got another arm of the state, the police. So what happens? The police give information to this middleman. That middleman takes that information to another arm of the state, and the documentary starts. Film rolls, right? This guy moves into the fucking. Do you think that happens? Do you think like, oh, there's a flat on the same road as this guy that like we want to have? No, like that was probably made available. And I would say, yeah, there was definite coordination again between different arms of the state using this sort of deniable middleman, which was Hope Not Hate / Searchlight. There's also examples, other ones of Searchlight fell afoul of other anti-fascist kind of outfits in the mid-90s when they did a World in Action Cook Report. So there was a World in Action that focused on militant anti-fascism. This is kind of in the years after the Stephen Lawrence stuff. So early 90s, basically. Things were kind of hot at that time. And there was a lot of people joining these anti-fascist groups. You had groups like the Anti-Nazi League, and a group called Anti-Fascist Action. And then the one that kind of stands out is this group called Red Action, which I'll get into later on. So Red Action, I should remember that. So basically what happened in 94 and 95, they filmed this documentary on anti-fascist action. Supposedly it was like couple of different groups. It was Red Action, Anti-Nazi League, and Anti-Fascist Action, but they focused on anti-fascist action. And Nick Lowles was sent in. This time he was working in some sort of like junior production capacity. He was sent in to a meeting at Leeds University of anti-fascist action, like Leeds outfit or whatever, the Leeds branch. He goes into this meeting with a hidden camera, introduced himself. Oh, I was looking for is this the AFA meeting? Yeah, sits down. I basically recorded them saying stuff along the lines that they were going to like get Molotov cocktails ready for some march that the BNP was going to do or something. I took that information, used it in the documentary. It came out. There was this big thing that kicked off with Leeds Anti-Fascist Action condemning the use of undercover agents and basically accusing Searchlight of helping fascists or assisting the state or something. And it's basically a schism between non-state anti-fascism and what was later to be seen as state anti-fascism, which is represented by groups like Hope Not Hate. So the groups that can basically go in between institutions of the state to maybe target fascists, right? They're the groups that we're talking about. And they're obviously hated by fascists, right? The fascists look at them and they say, oh, you're just like MI5, you're spooks, right? On the left, there was also this issue that presented itself in the mid-90s where certain groups that considered violence to be like a legitimate tool to be used against fascists or whatever were infiltrated again by this Searchlight team, and it was broadcast again on TV. So this group infiltrates, gives information to World in Action. World in Action puts out at prime time on BBC or whatever, and it makes anti-fascism look bad. As well as that, Red Action, which is probably the most militant, it was mainly like white working class Londoners, some of whom were like formerly in like British movement, National Front type groups. They were like socialists, like SWP types, Trotskyites. They had links to Republicans in Northern Ireland, and they were seen as of interest. It came on the radar in '93 when there were two bombings. There was a bombing in Harrods, and there was a bombing in Warrington in Manchester, where I think a child was killed, like a 5-year-old or something like that. That action was conducted by two Red Action members who were moonlighting as an IRA active service unit. So they'd basically gone over to the north of Ireland. One of them was an ex-soldier, British soldier. One of them was like London Irish. And yeah, they basically got in with maybe the provisionals, one group of the IRA anyway, and were given this sort of agency to go and conduct operations for them on British mainland. And they did 2. And they were arrested. I think they got nicked in like 94, 95, Jan Hayes and someone else. And they ended up getting freed in the Good Friday Agreement. So I think they're out early. On the other side of that, you had an outfit called Red Watch, which again kind of operated in this